Here we go.
Haslam pointing the finger, may have made contact.
Rebound. And now here's the words between Haslam. And there's the point. May have been contact. Yeah.
He's gone. They ejected him. So Udonis, his only appearance of this regular season, plays a couple of minutes.
A great memory. And if this is the last one, I finished it the only way Udonis Haslam could, with an ejection.
Was that a hint?
I said if it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. If. You know, Dwight plays the way Dwight plays. And, you know, it was just a conversation between me and him where I just wanted to make it clear that, you know, the throwing down and the swinging of the elbows and things like that, you know, I just felt like we should kind of leave that out of the game for tonight. And I think he disagreed. So, when he disagreed, I disagreed, and it was a whole bunch of disagreeing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. UD, baby. You know, pussy ass Dwight Howard better watch out, okay? Because his punk ass will get rocked by UD. All right? And why don't we put them in the ring before Mayweather and, what is it? What's the name of those kids again?
Paul brothers.
Paul's, yes, yeah. Exactly. One of the Paul brothers kicked like 4 Gronk brothers' asses yesterday in the sparring sessions. So that was fun. That was entertaining. As UD comes in for 3 glorious minutes and then gets ejected, picks up a couple rebounds and a basket, and the rest is history. And he picks up the ejection too along the way, so sends kind of a message. And it's one of those where did the Heat just take the life out of the Sixers, and that's kind of why they kind of realized, all right, they're going to get manhandled today. I know they have 2 easy games against Chicago and the Cavs left, so they may think, you know, we'll be able to stave off the Nets because they're a game ahead of the Nets right now to maintain that number 1 spot. But listen, if the Heat, I don't know if they've turned any corner yet, okay? They've been so inconsistent throughout the year that I still can't trust them yet that they've turned the corner and they can be anything like they were in the bubble. But if they can be that team, then you shouldn't fear Philadelphia. You know what I mean? And you definitely aren't going to fear, you know, the Nets physically. They have talent, but I almost feel with the Nets that if you can get physical with them, you might be able also to get them folding like a cheap tent. Because really, I mean, Dwight Howard, he's not a tough guy. He's never been a tough guy. He's viewed as a clown. I don't know if Dwight Howard realizes that he's viewed as a clown pretty much around the league. And so, you know, it's kind of a guy with I don't know, no scruples, not a guy that's not viewed as a trustworthy person. You know what? A lot like A-Rod. You know, a lot like A-Rod. A-Rod to me is like a complete snake. You know what I mean? Some people get fooled by the fake makeover he's had over the last couple of years, but he's a snake, still a snake, always will be a snake. So, you know, what can I tell you? But it's just, that was fun. All right, well, I will say that was fun. You know, now I don't know if being 7-1 in their last 8 games now means they've turned the corner. We'll find out now. We'll find out when they play. I believe it's Atlanta, right? It looks like they're kind of set up against Atlanta right now. Is that what it looks like, right, Alex?
Yeah, as of now, Atlanta is the 4th seed, and Miami's the 5th seed, and New York is the 6th, right? Like, that's in between those 3 teams. There's still a chance something can move, something can change in the next 2 or 3 games for these respective teams.
Yeah, so if they go out and take care of business against Atlanta, and I'm talking about like maybe dropping no more than 1, but if it looks like it looks throughout the regular season, which did Atlanta win the regular season? I want to say they did.
Yes, we have the tiebreaker over New York.
Right.
But Miami does not have the tiebreaker.
No, they swept New York.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think Atlanta beat the Heat 2 out of 3.
Right.
So,
Right.
And
So-
they weren't even close, I think. They're
Right.
bad games.
Yeah, exactly. So I need to see that in a way, and I think that's going to be a nice measuring stick to start the playoffs. Good thing is Miami will get a week off. That'll give Goran Dragic.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the home of Inter Miami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep. Download the Radio.net app and listen to Onside Radio in every Inter Miami CF game. OnsideRadio.com, your home for Inter Miami soccer.
Let's raise a cup to the first among us who put themselves last. To the risk takers, the mask makers, the heroes on the front line and online. To the ones keeping shelves full and keeping us hopeful. To those who don't stop and those making all the stops. To the ones who pick up, suit up, and never let us down. From all of us at Duncan to all the heroes keeping everyone running, we thank you.
You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Here is, I'm sure this is going to be a surprise to those on hand as he hears it from this crowd. 18-year veteran out of Florida. And a foul is called on Haslam.
Haslam's having words with Dwight Howard. I'm loving this right now. Oh, here we go.
Haslam pointing the finger may have made contact.
Rebound. Now here's the words between Haslam. And there's the point. May have been contact, yeah.
They ejected him. So Udonis, in his only appearance of this regular season, plays a couple of minutes.
Great memory. And if this is the last one, I finished it the only way Udonis Haslam could, with an ejection.
Was that a hint?
I said if it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. If. Dwight plays the way Dwight plays, and it was just a conversation between me and him where I just wanted to make it clear that, the throwing down and the swinging of the elbows and things like that, I just felt like we should kind of leave that out of the game for tonight. And I think he disagreed, so when he disagreed, I disagreed, and it was a whole bunch of disagreeing.
Yes! Oh, it is! It is! Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Oh, I'm Alex Donno, and I'm with you guys here on OnsideRadio.com. That's where you can listen, OnsideRadio.com. You can listen right there on our website with you till 3 to 6 p.m. Or if you go to our website, you look on the right side of the page there at OnsideRadio.com, and there's a gigantic list of free mobile apps. Download one or several of the free mobile apps like Simple Radio, MyTuner Radio, Radio FM, which is the one I've found myself using the most often lately. It doesn't really matter which one you use. They all work great. You can't lose when you listen to us on one of those free smartphone apps. Just download the app. They cost you not a single cent. Make Onside Radio your favorite station. And, the mobile app, it's like a life hack, because if you've got a car that's been made within like the last 15 years, you probably have Bluetooth capabilities through your speakers. So you connect your phone via Bluetooth to your car stereo, and if you play the app through the stereo, or if you want to go old school and you have like the little headphone cord adapter in your car, you can just like play that directly through the jack into the speaker. So there's a bunch of different ways to listen. Crystal clear audio. You can get us all throughout your commute at onsideradio.com. On the mobile apps, you can also listen on a jog, out for a walk, whatever you have going on. It's fantastic. For those of you who are stationary, you're not driving, you're not doing anything crazy out there, you're, home, or you're at work, or you're working at home, or slacking off at work, you can watch us, stream us, and chat with us on YouTube. See, a number of folks are already in the YouTube chat. Thank you so much. Our guy Brooklyn Rob is in. Brooklyn Rob and I are friends, but we're going to be enemies tomorrow because Inter Milan takes on Juventus. Then Inter Miami takes on Cincinnati on Sunday. So it's going to be a big, big weekend for all of my soccer clubs this week. Brooklyn Rob is a Juventino. I'm an Interista, so tomorrow we are enemies. Troy Ortiz is in the chat as well. If you're in there, say hello to us. You're watching us on YouTube. If you have a Google account, you can live chat. It's a lot of fun. You can chat with each other. You can chat with me. I'm very active on the chat. And if you can't listen to us and watch us via YouTube, you can get in touch with us the old-fashioned way, and that's on the station text line, 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. We love the texters. We love the YouTube commenters. We love everybody. And it's Friday. We almost did it. The weekend officially starts in 2 hours and 50 minutes. How will you be celebrating? I'll be celebrating at BYB Extreme tomorrow. Going to go hang out with our guy Dada 5000 at the Miami Fairgrounds, watch some bare-knuckle brawling. I'll be watching Juventus against Inter tomorrow. I'll be watching Inter Miami against FC Cincinnati on Sunday. Also on Sunday, we got the Florida Panthers starting their playoff run. This is going to be a fantastic sports weekend. But the other reason why I'm in a great mood today, not only because it's Friday, but you saw and then you heard from, we played the audio coming in, my guy UD. Oh, Udonis Haslem. Do yourselves a favor, because I know that there are several of you, I talked to you, and some of you are even friends of mine, who have been saying Udonis Haslem doesn't earn and doesn't deserve his roster spot. That Udonis shouldn't be on the team. He shouldn't be taking up a roster spot. He's got no business when the guy doesn't play anymore. You need to regret those comments and forget those comments and never speak ill of Udonis Haslem ever again. Udonis Haslem last night did more in 3 minutes to earn his NBA paycheck than Victor Oladipo has done in the past 3 years. That was incredible for UD. Old school hockey enforcer type, as Tim Reynolds from the Associated Press tweeted out, the greatest Udonis Haslem game ever. 2 for 2 from the floor. 2 technicals, 2 minutes, and ejected. That's like the basketball version of a Gordie Howe hat trick. Goal, assist, and a fight. Are we going to start calling that the Udonis Haslem triple-double? Right? Well, it's the UD triple single. 1 ejection, 2 points, 2 technicals, 2 minutes. It's a quadruple single. It's the UD. It is the Udonis Haslem stat line. That was so great, man. Dwight Howard is a bitch. I'm sorry. Dwight Howard is an absolute bitch. And Udonis Haslem getting in his face. Oh, we've got to eject him because he put his hand on Dwight Howard's face. Philadelphia 76ers, a team full of punks. Joel Embiid, Dwight Howard, Ben Simmons, loser. I got to tell you guys, and the Heat, by the way, I mean, I'm talking about Udonis Haslem's day. The Miami Heat as a team embarrassed the Philadelphia 76ers last night. That team's going to be the 1 seed in the East. I don't believe they're the best team in the Eastern Conference. They can be the 1 seed, but to me, at best, Philadelphia is number 3 in the East, at best. They're not better than Brooklyn. I mean, Brooklyn has just been toying with themselves and their opponents throughout the regular season because it's like they show so much mercy on their opponents. They only usually have one of their superstars play at once. And then, Kyrie Irving is taking personal time off because the guy's mentally unstable. Kevin Durant, the Charmin soft, so this guy's taking time off all the time. The toughest guy on that team, at least the toughest of the superstars, ironically enough, has been James Harden. And that was the guy everyone was ripping on, before the season started and early on in the season. He's the toughest of that trio. But Brooklyn has been toying with people. I believe Milwaukee is legit this year. Last year, the Heat clowned him. Heat knocked him out of the series in 5. They did excellent work against Giannis. That team got better with the Drew Holiday trade. Giannis Antetokounmpo is better. I don't want to match up with Milwaukee at any point in the playoffs. I mean, obviously, to get through the East, you would probably have to get through either them or Brooklyn, if not both. But I'm telling you guys, if the Miami Heat are able to secure the 4-5 matchup in the first round, which would likely be against the Atlanta Hawks, I strongly believe the Heat take out the Atlanta Hawks in the first round. That wouldn't be an issue. Then in the second round, if you match up with Philadelphia, because Philadelphia, they secure the number 1 seed. So they would be your matchup in the second round. The 1 seed, assuming they get past the play-in team in the 8, the 1 seed would face the 4-5 winner in the second round. If the stars align that you get to go up against Atlanta or New York for that matter, but it's more likely to be Atlanta. If you get to go up against Atlanta in the first round and then the Philadelphia 76ers in the second round, you can start to book your plane tickets and your game tickets for the Eastern Conference Finals, because if it lines up that way, you're going back to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think you get any farther than that. You're not back in the NBA Finals like last year in the bubble. But if you get the cakewalk of Atlanta in the first round and then the soft-ass Philadelphia 76ers in the second round, the Miami Heat are going back to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. Something happens to Jimmy Butler when he faces that Philadelphia 76ers team. He doesn't like those guys. He doesn't like the way that they trashed him after his time there. He gets extra motivated. Jimmy turns into Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, when he goes up against Philadelphia. Tyler Hero plays his best basketball against Philadelphia. For all the crap we've talked about Hero this year, because he's had some ups and downs. He's had a little bit of a sophomore slump. If this guy could go up against Philadelphia 82 games a year, he'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's how good Tyler Hero is against Philly.
It's the Julius Caesar haircut.
I think so.
New cut.
Yeah.
He came back from injury with a fresh haircut like that, so that could be it.
Do you think that when they cut his hair, they put his Chipotle bowl over his head, and that was the way that they did the cut?
That's exactly what I told my friend. I was like, they put a bucket on his head and they just cut around it.
He's got his own Tyler Hero Chipotle bowl. They put the tinfoil bowl over his head and they cut his hair around that.
Efficient.
I think that's the way that they did it. Totally efficient, my friends. Totally efficient. Ray Grullon says, howdy, Donno. Got to love UD. Go Heat. Brooklyn Rob says, team is getting playoff ready, showing up the top team in the East. Showing them that we are not pushovers regardless of record. Bucks game will tell us a lot this weekend. It absolutely will. By the way, this is an incredible Udonis Haslem stat. I loved Udonis last night. First 3 minutes he gets of the season, it probably will end up being his last, right? At least this year. I think he's coming back next year, UD. How about this?
Doubt it.
I wouldn't doubt it either. How about this, courtesy of Stat Muse? Because the real NBA geeks do that thing where they project a stat line over the course of 36 minutes or 48 minutes. Like they do those different, even though this guy may have been on the court for 45 seconds, whatever he did in that short amount of time, they project it over like a full game.
It's per 36, yeah.
Per 36, exactly. So this is Udonis Haslem's per 36 stats this season. This is incredible. 48.0 points per game, 12.0 rebounds per game, 100% field goal percentage, and he's averaging 1 fight per minute this season. Udonis Haslem is better than Wilt Chamberlain if we go by that stat line. This is incredible. I mean, you want to talk about efficiency. If those do end up, and Udonis kind of talked about that a little bit, but he did say, I'm not saying it's my last game or my last year, but he said if by any chance that was the last we see of Udonis Haslem on the court, that's the most perfect UD way to go out, with an ejection. 2 for 2 from the floor as well is incredible because, you have to dust the cobwebs off this guy when you put him into a game. And he gets into a game, and it's like Udonis Haslem for 3 minutes steps into a time machine, and it's 2006 again. I mean, it's incredible. He's got gray hairs now. I mean, I've played as much basketball this season as Udonis Haslem did up until he got into that game, and yet he still goes in and he hits both of his shot attempts. I mean, it's really incredible, this UD. 844-416-8123 is the phone number. 844-416-8123. We'll take a little bit of a deeper look into what the Heat did to the 76ers last night. Plus, I'll give you my take on the Florida Panthers playoff series coming up. We're going to step into the roundtable when we come back. Later on this hour, in about 17 minutes, we're going to have our Foodie Friday segment. This Foodie Friday segment, it's inspired by something we talked about yesterday. I want you guys to think about shortages. Now, the gasoline shortage in Miami wasn't real. That was a misunderstanding because the pipeline didn't affect us. But it got lunatics lining up for hours to get gasoline. They're filling up Tupperware and plastic bags with gas. Crazy people, absolute crazy people. But there is an actual shortage in this country, and that's Chick-fil-A sauces, which is pretty frightening. And Alex Aguirre and I talked yesterday about how, a shortage of Chick-fil-A sauces where now they're currently only giving out one sauce container per item you order, how that's going to affect our lives. And I want to get into this because thinking hypothetically, right? What food shortages could you deal with better than others? Like if we reach a point where certain staple food goods are in a shortage due to these supply chain challenges, because apparently people don't want to work. Like there are jobs available at factories, at restaurants, and retail. People don't want to work these jobs, so we're having all these supply chain problems. We will talk about hypothetical food shortages, and we'll have to make some tough choices a little bit later on. But keep it locked right here. Lee Sterling's going to join us at 3:45, by the way. Alphonse Sidney is going to join us at 4 o'clock. Alf from Hangover Time, who's incredible. Omar Kelly, who's incredible as well. 4:35, he's going to join us, talk some Miami Dolphins and some NFL. And at 5:20, we'll talk some soccer with Frank Crivello from the Serie A sit-down. You're listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida, OnsideRadio.com.
Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Listen to OnsideRadio.com anywhere by downloading the MyTuner Radio app in your app store. Or go to MyTunerRadio.com on your web browser. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida sports leader. When you need your warehouse looking good while staying efficient, there's only one place to find the finest racks in the business. Pallet Rack City in Hialeah. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. Pallet Rack City is the company you need when you want your warehouse sporting the finest racks in the business. After all, who doesn't love a great rack? Pallet Rack City. 305-424-8547. That's 305-424-8547. At OnsideRadio.com, we chirp all day and night. It's time to do some more chirping with David Dwork at our Chirping the Cats report.
The Panthers are back on the ice today, preparing for their Stanley Cup quarterfinal series against the Tampa Bay Lightning. The full first-round schedule was released on Thursday, so now we know that Game 1 against Tampa will be Sunday night at 7:30, and Game 2 will be Tuesday at 8. Thanks to Florida beating the Lightning in back-to-back games last week, the Panthers have home ice advantage in the series and will host the first two games at the BB&T Center. On Thursday, the Lightning held a practice in Tampa and had close to a full squad on the ice, including superstars Steven Stamkos and Nikita Kucherov. It's looking more and more like the Bolts will have their franchise players back for the playoffs, which will make the task of advancing that much more difficult for Florida. However, that knife cuts both ways, and the Cats are expected to be operating at close to full strength for the first time in over a month. Several players who have been in and out of the lineup lately, like Carter Verhaeghe, Patrick Hornquist, Sam Bennett, and Noah Chari, are all expected to be back in Florida's lineup for Game 1.
Keep up with the latest on the Florida Panthers by subscribing on most platforms by searching Onside Radio, your home for South Florida sports.
Now that it's springtime, it's only getting hotter here in South Florida. Make sure your AC in your home or business is running smoothly by investing in a preventative maintenance plan from M&S Air Conditioning. And M&S is a Mitsubishi Diamond Elite contractor. When you purchase a new Mitsubishi electric mini split system, you'll get a 12-year warranty. Or install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit that captures and destroys biological contaminants to improve air quality. M&S Air Conditioning have been providing prompt, honest, and reliable service for over 30 years. Schedule service or call to get more info on our preventative maintenance plans. Call 954-421-3680 or visit ac-florida.com.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
With Make-A-Wish, the impossible becomes possible. A girl battling cancer can become a race car driver battling the course. The boy showing all the nurses his fire trucks can take the helm of a real one. Wishes can give kids with critical illnesses the strength to keep fighting, get better, and grow up.
Where there's a wish, there's a way.
Wishes need you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Tell me if you guys have the same reaction, because I know I'm not the only one, like the only NBA fan, because I ran a couple searches on this, and a lot of people are wondering the same things. It's very distracting watching and listening to that game last night. You know, Marv Albert and Reggie Miller were on the call, and like Marv Albert does not sound good. Like, really does not sound good, and I want to be careful when I talk about this, because like I you know, he's an older man. Like I hope he's not sick, right? Because I ran some searches. I don't see anything about him like having any sort of like a serious illness, but you know, when you hear him call NBA games these days, and he was calling the Heat game last night. Did you tell me, Alex? I didn't know. I wasn't aware of this, that they're still doing this for TNT games. Like, is he calling the game from his home? Is that part of the problem?
I don't think they're at the games at the moment, like calling, like in the arenas calling the games. I still think they're maybe not at home anymore, but like at a remote studio or a remote location and watching the broadcast from a television screen, kind of like what we do for the away games or something like that.
Like, at least like when Chris Whittingham is calling the game off a TV screen, like he makes it sound like he's at the game, right? Like he gets really into it. Marv Albert sounds washed, like zero energy whatsoever. Makes me wonder if Kevin Harlan stole all of his charisma like a Dementor in Harry Potter. Like he just like sucked all the charisma out of Marv Albert. It's there are times when it sounds like he's eating a sandwich, like in the middle of a call. Like here's a little bit of a clip of it. I'm sure, and I want to know if you guys agree with me, and you've heard this. And Marv Albert obviously had like his weird sex things that came up a couple of decades ago. So he's a very, very strange dude, as we know. But as a broadcaster, I've been a fan of his for decades, right? I mean, I grew up on Marv. You know, Marv has always, to me, been one of the benchmarks in that industry, one of the benchmarks in that industry, one of the absolute best historically at that job. Listen to a bit of Marv calling the game last night and tell me if this doesn't inspire you to take a nap.
So Miami back to the offense.
Oh my God.
Tyler Hero on TNT. That's next Tuesday. And Shake Milton able to find the open alley and takes advantage. Played by Robinson. Embiid is back. This is Tobias Harris.
I mean, somebody get this guy a cafecito. Give him a full colada. Marv, a little bit of energy, my friend. I mean, what the hell is going on there with Marv Albert? Yeah, and also, did you notice if you were watching the first half of that game, like Marv, I guess, thought it would be fun to play trivia with Reggie Miller and make the audience really think. And he kept bringing up, Alex, we've talked about it on this show, and we talked about it like 6 weeks ago, how HBO is doing a series about the Showtime Lakers. And Marv was bringing that up, and he was like, well, I bet you'll never guess who's going to be playing Pat Riley. I'll give you a hint. And he's like doing this all throughout the he's an Academy Award-winning actor. And he keeps bringing this up like at various points in the broadcast. Like, Marv acted as if this news just came out yesterday. Buddy, we've known for 2 months Adrian Brody is going to be playing Pat Riley. We have known that since like February, March, baby. Man, that was a really, really tough watch, I got to tell you. I hope he's all right because he sounds incredibly low energy. Ray Grullon writes in, I agree, Marv sounds a bit low. His tone used to be louder. I feel like Marv used to inject some energy into broadcasts. In fact, you know how whenever I start the show, and it's exhausting doing this every day, but whenever I start the show with the yes, that actually gradually evolved. Like it evolved. It started off like 8 years ago as a Marv Albert impersonation. It started off like this. I would just go, yes. You know, the way Marv will sometimes, when somebody hits a big bucket, he'll go, yes. Like, that's what it started off as. And then, you know, over the course of several months, yes turned into yes. It went from Marv Albert to Schwarzenegger to Chewbacca. Like, it gradually evolved over a period of time. Marv used to have a little bit of passion coming into these calls, but my God, really, really rough lately. But listen, I'm not going to let that spoil the Heat victory last night. 4 in a row, 7 of their last 8, 11 of their last 14. How many times has this team made us question our opinions about them? I mean, I think the bottom line is it's hard to really have any serious conviction as to what the Heat are going to do in the playoffs. And I understand. I said that they could have a potential really sweet path to the Eastern Conference Finals if they get Atlanta, which it looks like they're getting in the first round. I don't even think it really matters if the Heat are the 5 or the 4. Whether they have home court advantage or not, I think the Heat can take out the Hawks in a 7-game series. And then you could very well end up then with Philadelphia in the second round, and I think that the Heat could be Philadelphia's kryptonite in a 7-gamer. You'll probably lose against either Milwaukee or Brooklyn in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that's where the road will end for you. But if things work out a certain way, I could see the Heat getting another deep playoff run. The problem is, for as good as we're feeling right now, and the fact that Tyler Hero's been so much better, Duncan Robinson has been so much better lately, Kendrick Nunn has been an absolute revelation, Dwayne Dedmon came out of absolutely nowhere. Bam is being more assertive late in games. Jimmy Butler is playing at an MVP level. I like what Trevor Ariza is doing. Goran Dragic has gotten really good lately. He looks a lot healthier out there. We're starting to see Dragon look a couple of years younger. So we've been trending in a really awesome direction now for the last couple of weeks, but how many times have the Heat pulled the rug out from under us? Right? How many times have we said, okay, hey, we're starting to get glimpses of this team last year, what they did cutting through the bubble last year in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden they'll come up and they'll be completely hapless. So I'm hoping they're not about to pull the rug from under us for like the 5th time this year, because this has been a really, really Jekyll and Hyde team. Absolutely Jekyll and Hyde. We've also got this going on. This morning, I saw a report in Bleacher Report that said Victor Oladipo. Actually, the report was from Brian Windhorst initially. I should give credit to the person who actually reported it. I got a Bleacher Report notification about it, but it was from Brian Windhorst. So Brian Windhorst said this on the Hoops Collective podcast. He said, they haven't announced it, but there's a good chance Oladipo's going to miss all of next season, Windhorst said. Now, Barry Jackson tweeted out, he said, I know there's stuff out there today about whether Oladipo will play next year. I can tell you from a source very close to the situation that there is optimism he will play at some point next season. Timetable will depend on how he heals over the next 3 months. honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if Windhorst's report is true. Because, hey, listen, people close to Oladipo are going to want to come out and refute Windhorst's reporting, whether they're right or wrong, because they want to put out some positive PR for Oladipo, because he's going to be a free agent. Like, think about that. Of course, Oladipo's entourage is going to make people think, no, guys, we're good. Timetable, next few months, we'll have a better idea. He can play next year. Yeah, because they don't want this guy to lose millions of dollars, okay? But, based on everything we've seen of Victor Oladipo, who's just been a shell of himself since that terrible injury he suffered in 2019, whatever the timetable is, you can add a few extra months to it, because Victor Oladipo is afraid to test his injuries. Like, whatever, if the timetable is, maybe he'll be better in 4 months, 5 months, you tack on an extra 3 or 4 months to that, because Oladipo is going to approach things with so much of an abundance of caution that it's going to become excessive caution. Because Victor Oladipo is scared and he's shell-shocked from that terrible injury he suffered. And it's why I say, listen, if you're that afraid to test your body and you're that afraid to get out on the court, you should probably retire. Because if you're interested in collecting these, 8-figure paychecks, but you're too worried to actually test your body and play the game, at a certain point, when does it become irresponsible to collect those 8-figure paychecks? When you're just going to be letting your teams down and leading them on the way that he's been leading on the Heat for the last, whatever it's been, 5-6 weeks since he picked up that injury against the Lakers. Like, it may just be time if your body is capable of being tested, but your mind is not capable of testing it. You either have to listen to your brain or listen to your body and make a decision. Either crap or get off the pot, man. Like, figure something out. 844-416-8123. Got our Foodie Friday segment coming up next, and then a little bit later this hour, we're going to talk with Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com and get our best bets for the weekend. Hey, make sure you guys are tuning in to an excellent show each and every day, 10 a.m. until noon. My good friend Kai Chen Chisholm hosts Kai's Corner. Kai provides so much insight, whether he's talking Dolphins, Heat, Bundesliga, very, very well-rounded host. He rocks and rolls every day from 10 a.m. to noon with Kai's Corner right here on OnSideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Listen to every Inter-Miami CF match on your home for La Rosa Negra, OnSideRadio.com. Catch us every day on the MyTuner Radio app. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
Big O, Tito is not allowed in the Boom Boom Room. Never seen Smokey and the Bandit. Never seen Top Gun. What's the matter with these kids? Look at that. Now you can't hang out with Salma, Paige, Sophia. See, now you can't hang out with the ladies because you have not seen Top Gun.
Yeah, I would just hope that, like I said, the Boom Boom Room is sanitized. I would hope.
Well, I don't know, but did you hear about the 81-person orgy?
No.
What is wrong with you?
The Onside Zone with Big O, only on OnSideRadio.com.
Join the Inter-Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnSideRadio.com sports update.
Miami Heat rolled past the Philadelphia 76ers 106-94. Jimmy Butler scored 21 points and Bam Adebayo added 18 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists. Udonis Haslem made an appearance for the first time this season, and it was the best 3 minutes of the Heat season so far. He scored 4 points, added 1 rebound, and the attitude the Heat have been missing all season. And he got ejected for going at Dwight Howard in the second quarter. The Heat are up next in Milwaukee tomorrow night. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. The Miami Marlins split the 4-game series against the Arizona Diamondbacks after a 5-1 win Last night, they hit to Los Angeles for a weekend series with the Dodgers. First pitch is tonight at 10:10 with Sandy Alcantara on the mound for your Fish. Inter Miami CF's next match is at 4 p.m. this Sunday in Cincinnati. You can listen to the pregame show with the Big O and Alex Donno at 3 o'clock from Dangerous Minds Brewing in Pompano. The call of the game starts at 4 with Chris Whittingham, Thomas Rognan, and Fernando Fiotti. You're listening to South Florida's only locally owned sports talk station. Coming up, it's more of Man of the Match with Alex Donno right here at OnSiteRadio.com.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common, preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSiteRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yo, I want to put Foodie Friday on ice until 4:20 because I want to make sure we don't run out of time because in like 6 minutes, we're talking with Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com. He's going to give us our best bets for the weekend. Hey, I would strongly recommend, if you guys didn't listen to my show Fight Night last night, the new show, and you keep in mind, mixed martial arts fans, boxing fans, bare-knuckle brawling fans, every Thursday night now, 7 until 9 p.m., we host a combat sports specialty show. James Walker and I hosted. James Walker, who used to cover the Dolphins for ESPN. Maybe you didn't know he's a gigantic fight fan. I've known him for about 9 years now. We've been talking fights forever, James and I, and now we do it on Onside Radio every Thursday. And we had Lee Sterling on last night to give us a special deep dive into the UFC 262 pay-per-view for this weekend. So if you're a Lee Sterling fan, if you're a gambler, and you take Lee Sterling's picks every weekend from this show, then I would highly recommend, if you didn't hear it last night, to go listen to the Fight Night podcast, which you can get on all platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, because Lee Sterling gave us 7 fight picks last night. He went through 2 of his favorite prelims, and he went through the entire 5-fight main card. So, if you're looking to whet your appetite with a little action on the fights tomorrow night, I would highly recommend giving that a listen, my friends. So, Tom Brady is returning to New England on October 3rd, Sunday night game, Buccaneers at Patriots. That's going to be huge, and it's going to be the most expensive ticket in regular season history. Ticketmaster, who is the NFL's official ticket exchange, lists ticket prices ranging for that game from $1,200. That's the cheapest. $1,200. I mean, that's like a freaking Super Bowl ticket, almost. $1,200 just to get in and sit in the nosebleeds, anywhere between $1,200 to $5,100 just to get in. Now, they do say that prices can fluctuate between now and the game, but the demand appears to be unprecedented for regular season games. So Tommy Brady, his return to Foxborough, the ticket prices right now are commanding record prices. And listen, obviously Tom Brady going back to New England is 90% of the demand, but also, like, people in Boston have been chomping at the bit to go see a football game live. I mean, think about that. Because did they have any fans in their stadium at any point last season? I want to say no, because obviously Massachusetts is a lot more blue than Florida. Like, the bluest of the states, like, California, Washington State, Massachusetts has got to be right up there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe like late in the year they allowed a few people in, but I'm pretty sure for at least 90% of their games last year in New England, there was 0 fans in that stadium. So the people there are also, they're chomping at the bit to go to games this year. So that automatically is going to drive up the demand for pricing at least a little bit. But then, of course, I'm not going to say that's the primary reason the prices are so high, because Brady back to New England is massive. All right, we're going to get some bets for the weekend with Lee Sterling from ParamountSports.com when we come back. This is the only locally owned station in South Florida. We are OnSideRadio.com.
With Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the home of Inter Miami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnSideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep. Download the Radio.net app and listen to Onside Radio in every Inter Miami CF game. OnSideRadio.com, your home for Inter Miami soccer.
Let's raise a cup to the first among us who put themselves last. To the risk takers, the mask makers, the heroes on the front line and online. To the ones keeping shelves full and keeping us hopeful. To those who don't stop and those making all the stops. To the ones who pick up, suit up, and never let us down. From all of us at Duncan to all the heroes keeping everyone running, we thank you.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
When you're looking to add that extra style and protection for your home or business, visit A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie or Sunrise, where plantation shutters are a major part of our business, and they look great in any home. We have them in white, stained colors, and wood tones. We can even motorize your shutters like the one in the OnSideRadio.com studio. A Shade Above Window Fashions, 954-434-4774. That's 954-434-4774. Love the space you live in. A Shade Above Window Fashions.
You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, hey, by the way, the Miami Heat have signed a center developmental guy to fill their 15th roster spot. To tell me, Alex, if you have any idea if I'm pronouncing this gentleman's name correctly, Omer Yurtseven. He's a Miami Heat player now. What? Omer Yurtseven.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome to the club. And let's welcome in our good pal Lee Sterling. He does an awesome job ParamountSports.com is his website. Doesn't pay us to come on. We don't pay him to come on. And Lee, huge shout out. I mentioned this in the previous segment, encouraging everyone who loves your insight, and if they're fight fans especially, to check out the podcast of what you did with us last night on Fight Night. We went through all 5 main card fights for the UFC pay-per-view this weekend and 2 of the prelims. So thank you so much for that, Lee. How you doing today?
I'm good. You're welcome. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We weren't as rushed as we normally are. We were able to go through the fights, and also it's important to watch the weigh-ins. I'm not quite as strong on Charles Oliveira as I was last night.
I had the same thought. Yeah, I'm worried
Michael
about
Chandler.
him
Did you
going
see
5
him weigh
rounds.
in?
Yep, I did.
Wow, he looked good.
I'm feeling better. You're right. I'm feeling better about Chandler after watching the weigh, because I feel like Chandler can go 5 rounds no problem. Oliveira better finish it in the first 3.
You know what? I don't know if that's the case. I just think that Chandler, if he has to go 5 rounds, can go 5 rounds, and I think if it goes, to the later rounds, it obviously favors Oliveira. We see things a little bit differently. I was just shocked at how good Chandler looked.
Yeah. No.
Some fighters, he's 35. He realizes this is it. He loses this fight, he's not getting another shot.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, and he got a late start in the UFC. I mean, he was in Bellator for a long time, was a champion there, and that's fine. But I can remember when he was 28, 29, I was hoping he would make the jump. He didn't make it until he was 34, 35, so he's got to make the most of that opportunity, no question about it.
So do we have a theme today? Is it like your favorite hamburger? What's the theme today?
You know what we have, and I'm going to first dive into it with you because usually I set it up before your segment, but I went long talking about the great Udonis Haslem, so I hadn't set it up yet, but I'm going to set it up with you, Lee. So the theme is food shortages. Now, obviously, people this week were talking about gas shortages from that pipeline. Even though it didn't affect South Florida, a lot of people thought it did, and they hoarded gas and all that. Now, there's actually a shortage of sauces at Chick-fil-A because of the supply chain. So that's a real thing. So I'm thinking last night, Lee, about food shortages. Which of these 4 would affect you most if there was a food shortage in any of these? And I'll make sure people understand the full ramifications here. A potato shortage, which would mean French fries, potato chips, baked potatoes, all that's at a premium. A tomato shortage, which means good luck getting a good pizza, good pasta sauce, all that good stuff. And I love tomatoes in any form. A chicken shortage, which I think is self-explanatory. But, Lee, what about a coffee shortage? I don't know if you're a huge coffee drinker like myself. Out of those 4, a coffee shortage, chicken shortage, tomato shortage, or potato shortage, which would affect your life most?
It's not even close, coffee.
Yep.
I mean, my wife and I sometimes, we're standing around the coffee maker waiting for it to finish. So
I do the same thing.
So I can. I like all the other 3 a lot, but could I get by for a couple weeks or a month without it? Yeah, coffee. When I almost go into withdrawals, thinking like when you have to go to the doctor for your physical, and you've got that 9 or 10 a.m. appointment. Just counting down the minutes until after the appointment so you can run to Starbucks to get some coffee.
I drink 3 or 4 coffees a day, and I can remember 2 or 3 days ago I was like really busy. I only drank 1 coffee in the morning, and I remember feeling terrible in the early afternoon. And like I'm thinking, oh, am I getting sick? What's going on? And then I realized I've only had 1 coffee today. I think I was literally having withdrawals. I am actually addicted to coffee.
Wow. See, now I'm a 1 or a 2 cup coffee guy. Have one in the morning and then sometimes late afternoon to help me, get me over the hump, finish the rest of the day. But I'm never a 3 or 4, cup guy. I mean, if I'm on the road, I'm watching something. I might sip on a large coffee, a real big one. But
nice.
But it's just I'm not a 3 or 4 cup a day guy. I'm not that addicted, but I need it in the morning. I can't make it through the rest of the day.
Stick to 1 or 2 a day, because if you get to be a 3 or 4 cupper like me, there's no turning
and
back.
How old are you, Alex? You're not even that old.
36.
Wow.
I just love coffee. Like I've loved coffee for my entire adult life. Like I really,
Do you go with the different flavors, the French vanillas, the different? Or
I actually,
straight?
I love espresso and Cuban coffee.
Okay.
That's usually my first of the day. So I like those with sugar because espresso without sugar is too bitter. But if I'm drinking like regular brewed coffee, I actually like black coffee. It's not to say I can't do cream and sugar because sometimes I do, but I like black coffee, and I feel like if I'm drinking cream and sugar all day, I'm going to be 400 pounds. So this is almost
I'm
my
different. Now I do like some planks, but I like either the French vanilla creamer in it. And I even like sometimes, the pumpkin. I like pumpkin flavored. I like cinnamon. If you just watch me at night with all my desserts and all my Built Bars, I'm in different Built Bars. I can have 9 different flavors of Built Bar during the week.
That's fantastic. Lee Sterling is with us, ParamountSports.com. So, Lee, heading into what's going to be a pretty busy sports weekend. Any plays you like this week?
All right, so tonight I like 2 in the basketball.
Love it.
So here's what's interesting. 8 games. Every single game. And I think they should continue this, the play-in round. All 8 games, there are some ramifications here as far as that could affect the potential seedings of the playoffs or the play-in games. 2 that I like. Memphis, -6 against Sacramento. So these 2 teams just played. Sacramento's now eliminated because they lost 116 to 110 to Memphis. Now they got to turn around and play them again. They're eliminated from the playoffs. In the game that they lost only by 6 points, they outshot Memphis 41.5 to 33% from the three-point line. And they also had a guy named Justin James. I don't even know who Justin James is.
No, I don't either.
He averages 3.5 points per game during the regular season and less than a rebound and less than an assist. He came off the bench and scored 31 points. I don't see that happening again here. Memphis wants to stay in that number 8 hole. They're tied with Golden State right now. If you're 7 or 8, you just got to win 1 game. Then you're in the playoffs. But if you're 9 or 10, you got to win 2 games. This is a big game for Memphis here. I'll lay the 6. I think they win probably real easy here against Sacramento. This is when you fade teams that are out of it. That first game where they're eliminated, you don't think these guys are calling their wives, their girlfriends, their relatives and start making plans for the summer? Oh, it's off the chain.
No doubt about that. What else do you like in the NBA?
I like Golden State also tonight. They've won 4 straight. They have a shot at the number 8 spot instead of staying 9. If you're 9, you got to beat the number 10 team, and then you got to win the next game. So you got to win 2 in a row. So they're looking for revenge from the May 4th loss to New Orleans, 108-103. Finally, it only took 69 games for Andrew Wiggins to do something for Golden State. Scored 38 points. He's a streaky guy. I remember, the last couple of years when he was playing with Minnesota, he could get on a run for 8-10 games. So this might be the start of it. New Orleans is not eliminated, but they'd have to win both games, and San Antonio would have to lose both. And San Antonio has Phoenix twice. I think Phoenix is going to sit some players in that last game. So I think they realize they're not going anywhere. Lonzo Ball's out for this game. So is Brandon Ingram. So is Zion Williamson. So is Josh Hart. Even Steven Adams may not play here. That's 55 points. 55 points guaranteed. That's the average per game. They've lost 10 of the last 16 games. Golden State tonight, -2 easy over New Orleans.
I love it. Anything else you like this weekend?
Yeah, one of the fights I like a lot now, even more, is Benel Benny Dariush over Tony Ferguson. So looking at this even more. And now, we talked about on the show last night on the podcast that he had lost the last 2 fights and absorbed a lot of damage. I mean, when he fought Gaethje, that was one of the worst punishments I've ever seen a fighter take and be able to last the 5 rounds. Then he was dominated in the last fight by Charles Oliveira. He has not won a round in those 2 fights. And now you look at the 3 fights before it, and you see Donald Cerrone, Pettis, and Lee. Those 3 fights, they don't look so good, those wins. So I just think it's Dariush's time here. I think he's, starting to come into his own. He is 32, but some fighters, they get that 31, 32, 33 range. that's where they're fighting their best. And
yeah, like remember, like Rafael dos Anjos was another one in the lightweight division. Like he was in his 30s when he reached his peak.
Yeah, they just, you know what, you figure it out. It's a combination. You're still at the peak as far as strength-wise, quickness-wise, and everything comes together. It's like me in football. I figured it out at like 45. If I would have had the talents that I had at 21, 22, with my head at 45, I would have been in good shape. So we'll take Benny Dariush here, minus the 170 to get the win.
I love it. And
co-main event.
Before we let you run, what did you think about Udonis Haslem last night? That was spectacular. Like, that was probably the most entertaining 3 minutes of Heat basketball all season.
It was better than any triple-double I've ever seen. I mean, and the last time we saw him, you know, just talking about just the way he looked on the court, the last time he was playing any significant minutes, he had not played until that game this year. Is that correct?
Yeah, this was his first playing time all year.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So when we saw him play with Dwayne Wade, that last quarter, last home game, that was painful. I felt bad for him. Yeah. I mean, look, it was sad. Yeah. But to go out there completely cold for an entire season, hit both shots, get a rebound, and then get the 2 T's, and the way he, you know, he was in control. No one would have wanted to mess with him. He was fit to be tied. Have we found out exactly what made him so irritated and so mad?
I mean, Dwight Howard had shoved him over earlier, and I guess he said something about how I guess he wasn't happy about things Howard was saying. He kept talking about they had disagreements. So I don't know, man.
It probably goes a lot farther, and he probably realized after 2 minutes, I'm done.
There's probably a lot of people. A lot of people want to do that to Dwight Howard, so he was living every fantasy.
And this was the perfect way to go out. You go out on top.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I love it.
Outside of winning a championship, to go out in the last regular home game in the regular season of his career, couldn't think of a better way.
Like, if that ends up being his last NBA game, that's almost better than Dwayne Wade's final game, Kobe's final game. Like, it's the most UD way to go out. Excellent stuff here, as always, from Lee Sterling. You want to follow him on Twitter at Paramount Sports and check out his website, ParamountSports.com. And you guys, Lee, you're always running specials. You got the best deals, so I hope people are taking advantage, man. And I know, Lee, you've got fans listening because I got a text. I want to make sure I get his moniker right. It was I'm looking for it now. It was Benny something. Was
okay.
I think I got it here. It was Benny Buckets. Benny Buckets is listening.
Okay, all right. Well, for Benny, if he's interested, the NBA play-in tournament starts on Tuesday. Get the entire playoffs. That's 2 months for $197. They want to get the NHL playoffs. Right now, for instance, I sell my plays at one other site called Covers.com, the largest pick reseller. And there's guys there that have gone. They went to college. I think there's 3 or 4 guys there that went to Ivy Leagues. There's some brilliant guys. Wow. Right now, I think there's 23 guys that do hockey. We're number 1. We've doubled up anyone else that's there. We're that far ahead. So you want to hop on board, $197. That starts tomorrow, the hockey playoffs. We got our Panthers in the playoffs. I've got a play tomorrow on that, a series play. I've got 5 other playoff series bets. So you want to hop on board, $197 for either one of them at ParamountSports.com, or you can call me here. How about this? I'll take another $100 off. You want to get a combo pack. You want to do NHL and NBA, 2 months of action in both. $297, ParamountSports.com. But to get the special, call me 800-400-9741.
Lee, you're a true pro. Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend.
All right. You too, buddy.
Good stuff there. All right, so when we come back, we're going to talk more about Haslem's dominance. We're going to talk about the Heat heading into the postseason. Where should our heads be at? Alphonse Sidney from Hangover Time, Miami Heat Beat. He's going to join us next. Hey, start your morning every day with Toasted Sports. Toast covers all the local sports stories while providing some great Miami Hurricanes insight. Download, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Toasted Sports, 8 to 10 a.m. only at OnSideRadio.com.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is.
She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to the home of Inter Miami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalo Higuain opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep.
Inter Miami CF fans, join us at our new home this season for all away games as we broadcast live at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company, 1901 North Federal Highway in Pompano Beach. Join Big O and Alex Donno for the live pregame, halftime, and postgame shows while we watch the games. Enjoy meticulously brewed beer on site, delicious artisanal pizzas, live music, and giveaways. So, the new home for all Inter Miami road games is at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company at the Pompano City Mall, where they'll feature all the Inter Miami games. Follow them on Twitter at Dangerous Minds B and Facebook and Instagram at Dangerous Minds Brewing, and visit them at dangerousmindsbrewing.com.
When you're looking for curtains and blinds to create a space of your own, look no further than Bandalux. Bandalux can tailor your space to your needs. Create the atmosphere and ambiance you desire. We invite you to discover it at Bandalux.com. Explore our new solar control systems, range of sustainable fabrics, and energy-efficient solutions that can improve your well-being and quality of life. Witness Bandalux Beauty. Go to Bandalux.com or follow them on Instagram at Bandalux_official. For a personal experience, A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie and Sunrise is an official Bandalux partner.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnsideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, welcome into the 4 o'clock hour on Man of the Match. I'm Alex Donno, taking you up until 6 o'clock here tonight. I am still just in awe of Udonis Haslem. Best 3 minutes of the season for me last night, and I would hope and expect that our next guest is going to share that opinion. Our good friend Alphonse Sidney from Hangover Time on Miami Heat Beat. You know, Alf, I knew it at some point here before the season ended. We were going to get some Udonis Haslem minutes. I wasn't expecting it to be that glorious. 2 shots, 2 technicals, a rebound, an ejection. That was the most entertaining 3 minutes of Miami Heat basketball all season. Agree or disagree?
I mean, absolutely 100% agree. I mean, it was just glorious. Just to bask in the culture and the guts. I mean, come on. Was there a more perfect way for UD to get his 3 minutes, to get his appearance that he needed for this to qualify as a season played? Like, was there, and if he doesn't come back next year, was there a more perfect way to go out? I mean, we got the jumper, we got a rebound, we got a fight, we got the trash talk. I mean, we ran the entire UD gamut in 3 minutes, and it was just absolutely glorious. Especially while Dwight Howard during a beatdown of the hated Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, just glorious, Dono. I replayed those 3 minutes a couple times last night before I went to bed to just get some culture in me before I went to sleep. It was glorious.
You had to. And they have this unofficial term in hockey that they call the Gordie Howe hat trick, where if you get a goal, an assist, and a fight in the same game, they call it the Gordie Howe hat trick. I'm thinking we need to name something after UD. Like if you get like an ejection, a rebound, and a point in a game, we need to call that the Haslam. Like we have to name that after him.
That's like the Haslam triple-double?
Yes, exactly. It's the Haslam triple-double.
It was just perfect. It really was.
Oh, my God.
The fact that he outplayed Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Yep. In about an eighth of the minutes. That's another thing that really kind of capped off the night.
Do you think Haslam comes back next year to kind of play the same role he played this year, or do you think this actually might be the offseason where he steps away?
I think this is it. I really do. I think last year it wasn't like he just came in one game for show and didn't play at all. Like last year he was either victory cigar or the games out of hand. He got a few games in last year. This year, this was almost just a performative gesture to get make sure he got that season. That those minutes in so that the season counted. It just doesn't feel like going forward there's a spot for him on the roster. But I do believe he's going to be around the team in some fashion. He said before he doesn't really want to coach, but they need him in the building, and they're going to figure out a way for him to be there. I don't necessarily think it's going to be part of the 15-man roster.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree 100%. We're joined here by Alphonse Sidney from Miami Heat Beat. He does an awesome job hosting Hangover Time. He joins us here on Onside Radio. This is a nice run that the Heat are on, and what a weird year, Alf, because I tend to have you on every couple weeks, and it seems like one time I'll have you on and it's rock bottom, another time I'll have you on, it's a winning streak. These are some of the good times right now heading into the postseason. 4 straight, 7 of 8 games won for this Miami Heat team. And what are you expecting as far as the path through the playoffs? Do you think they're going to lock up one of those 4 or 5 spots? Do you think they fall to the 6, and are we going to end up matching up with Atlanta?
I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Because just like you said, every time I come on, it's a completely different mood around this team. I mean, it's in a normal season, you would say they are gelling. They are, they're picking it up right at the right time. They have a 9-man rotation that seems pretty much set. They have a bench unit that has been outscoring, outplaying, just completely crushing other bench units. So yeah, it's you got to feel good about how they're playing right now, but they're an injury away from this whole thing falling apart.
Yeah.
They're an injury away from a lot of Max Strus and Gabe Vincent minutes again. So I'm cautiously optimistic as far as where they land. I think the 5 seed is where they're going to end up. They have a tough game against, I believe, the Bucks coming up. The Bucks still have something to play for, but so did the Sixers, and they were able to take care of business. And then there's that trap game against the Pistons. But not so much as far as what the Heat are doing, it's what the Hawks are doing. The Hawks just keep winning. They're very stubborn. I can't stand Trae Young. He plays no defense. He looks like a dirty lollipop. I just want him. I want him. I can't stand him, but I'm afraid of that team. I'm definitely afraid of the Hawks. They're young. They're fast. They are the type of team that gives the Heat fits. So I'm afraid of them. But it's either that or the Bucks, and I'm afraid of them too.
Yeah, me too.
But I do think they settle into the 5 seed. I'd love a Knicks Heat matchup. I think that's what everybody wants.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to see with the way the Hawks are playing.
You know, we got the news within the last couple days that Victor Oladipo, obviously, his season is done. He had quad surgery. But even, like, today, there was a report from Brian Windhorst that he might not play at all next season either. Now, Barry Jackson came out and said, hey, you know, he's talked to people close to the situation, and they have some optimism that Oladipo can play at some point next year. But still, man, I mean, hearing about all this, Alf, I honestly, I don't want anything to do with re-signing Oladipo, even if it's at unless it's like a tremendous discount. Like I would just say buyer beware. What do you think? Do you think there's a decent chance he's back in a Heat uniform next year?
I don't think he'll be back. If he comes back, it's going to be on a just minuscule contract. Like, I don't see them using cap space on him. You know, it's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I almost messed that up like George W. Bush a few years ago.
You know what the funny thing is that I find to be really annoying, because I feel like if I'm just talking like in private life, I'm really good at nailing cliches. But then for some reason, I've been doing this long enough, but for some reason when the mic's on and I'm on the radio, I screw up cliches all the time. So I don't know, man. Like, I feel like I don't really get nervous doing this anymore, but there must be something there, because I screw up cliches like that on air all the freaking time, and I never screw them up off the air.
I say my name wrong every 3 episodes of Hangover Time. So, listen.
Well, that's because you're drunk.
Oh, that's also true. That's also true. I mean, usually about 3 or 4 cocktails in by the time the show starts. But yeah, with Oladipo, like, if it's got to be a real minuscule deal, and you know, and I just don't even think. I think the Heat is like, you know, listen, you've been trying to get here for years. We gave you a shot. It didn't work out. Best of luck to you, and they move on. I think that's the way it's going to go.
And even, you know, obviously Oladipo will not be part of this postseason. We know that, but you know, I guess, and you mentioned we're always one injury away from trouble. But if you look at the backcourt, Goran Dragic has been resurgent. Same with Tyler Hero. And I wish Tyler could play against the Sixers more often, because he always comes alive against Philly. And Kendrick Nunn has been a revelation as of late. So, like, in theory, if this backcourt stays healthy, we're not going to miss Oladipo.
Not at all. The thing about Oladipo, why everybody was so excited, is because those 3 players that you named were all either injured or in a funk, you know, at the time of the trade. You know, I think we all know now that Hero's play was there was an injury there. He was hurting. His foot was bothering him. That's probably why his shot was off. Nunn went through a dry spell, but like you said, he's been resurgent. He's good for 16 to 20 points every game. And Goran Dragic is saying he's feeling better than he has all season. So the Oladipo thing was, we needed a guy who could give you 18 to 20 points, give you some good defense, who could, you know, take some of that pressure off of Jimmy and Bam. But these guys are doing it, all 3 of them. Hero has been amazing. I mean, every time he shoots now, I expect it to go in. When there was a month where he could have hit the broadside of a building. So now, you know, all that stuff that we were worried about, these guys have suddenly just come alive and come around. And this is a team with a Nunn playing the way he has been playing. That's a different look than you got last playoffs, because Nunn gave you nothing last year. So if Nunn can continue to play like this, continue to start. Goran could continue to run these second units and run other teams' second units off the floor. You got to be excited.
Hey, so the Heat, a short while ago, filled up their 15th roster spot. Can you tell me anything about this Turkish dude that they signed, Omer Yurtseven? I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Should we be watching out for Omer?
As an expert on Yurtseven,
so you even know how to say it at least.
Well, because I Googled him after they signed him. I had no idea who that guy is. I had no idea. But I mean, listen, the highlights look good, but I always say highlights are funny. You know, around draft time, I loved people, you know, put out these little hype videos, or people, you know, they look at a guy's highlights on YouTube and they say, oh man, this guy's awesome. Listen, I could go out there and play basketball all day long, and you could put a 3-minute clip together that would look like I was competent. So I don't really care about highlight reels. He's 7 feet tall. A legit 7 feet. He has some size. I watched. He's about 38% from three on limited attempts.
Okay.
I stole that straight from Hot Take Harry. Thank you very much. And he has a little bit of skill around the basket. He's not quite he protects the rim a little bit. He looks like he can move his feet. It might be one of those guys we never actually see on the court, but it could be like, remember Kendrick Nunn was like a last day of the season signing.
Yep.
And look what that's turned into. So we'll see going forward, but I don't know what to make of it because I never heard of the guy before about 20 minutes ago.
I kind of figured that, but I wanted to make sure because it would be amazing if you're like, no, Donno, I've watched every minute of the Turkish youth leagues. I've been scouting Yurt 7 for years. You never know until you ask the question. So I wanted to make sure.
I watched a ton of Georgetown basketball last year, so yeah, I'm fully aware of Omer Yurt 7's ability. But no, when they said that, I thought it was a joke at first. I was like, what?
It's funny you say that because
yeah.
the first place I saw it was somebody put it in our show's YouTube chat, and I'm not saying I doubt my listeners, but when I saw that name, I'm like, wait, I had to Google it for myself just to verify, just to make sure.
Yeah.
Well, awesome stuff here as always. He is the host of Hangover Time for Miami Heat Beat, also Light Skinned Opinion, so make sure you check him out. You can follow him on Twitter at Alf954. Alphon Sydney, thank you so much, my friend, and enjoy your weekend coming up.
Same to you, Donno, anytime.
And listen, now that Alf told me there's some hot Yurt 7 highlight reels out there, I know how I'm spending my commercial break coming up here in a few minutes. All right, we're gonna dive headfirst into Foodie Friday when we come back. I'm gonna have to ask Alex Aguirre and the listeners some tough questions later this hour. One of the most anticipated. See, I'm screwing up again. I think it's because I've worked so much this week. One of the most anticipated segments every week. Omar Kelly is going to join us for the Friday Honesty in about 15 minutes here. Foodie Friday, though, coming up. Hey, Onside Radio, sports fans can always catch up with all of our daily segments by subscribing to Onside Radio on most platforms. Listen to us discuss the hottest topics on the roundtable. Esports fans get the latest with our E-Minute. Panthers fans get the latest from David Dwork, providing great insight. Austin Robillard covers Inter Miami CF like no other. And Christian and Alex Aguirre provide the insight Marlins fans deserve. So subscribe, rate, and review Onside Radio on all platforms, the station that has the passion South Florida fans desire.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
Hey, Big O, what's going on? Listen, I just was telling your guy that answering the phone, Alex, it's just a pleasure, man, to get out of work and get in your car and be able to put on the radio and hear South Florida sports and not have to listen to some bull crap about another team from another state that you can give to a rat's ass about and sit there and have to go through all this other bull crap talk to, again, never hear them talk about your team once or twice in 20 hours. It's just an honor, and I wanted to thank you, man, for starting this thing up, man. It's balls to the walls. I love it.
Onside Zone with a Big O from 12 noon to 3 p.m. every weekday on OnsideRadio.com.
Inter Miami CF fans, join us at our new home this season for all away games as we broadcast live at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company, 1901 North Federal Highway in Pompano Beach. Join Big O and Alex Donno for the live pregame, halftime, and postgame shows while we watch the games. Enjoy meticulously brewed beer on site, delicious artisanal pizzas, live music, and giveaways. So, the new home for all Inter Miami road games is at Dangerous Minds Brewing Company at the Pompano City Mall, where they'll feature all the Inter Miami games. Follow them on Twitter at Dangerous Minds B and Facebook and Instagram at Dangerous Minds Brewing, and visit them at dangerousmindsbrewing.com.
Hey Panthers fans, Dave Dwork here with some awesome news. Every Saturday, I'm going to bring you the latest on everything to do with the Florida Panthers with Chirping the Cats Radio. Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m., we'll dive into the state of the team, recap games, and hear from past and present Panthers players, and plenty of other great hockey guests too. Got questions about the Panthers? Call or text the show and we'll break it down. Don't miss Chirping the Cats Radio, Saturday mornings from 10 to 11 a.m. only on OnSideRadio.com.
Big O for M&S Air Conditioning. You know, air quality in your home and business is more important than ever. That's why you've got to call M&S Air Conditioning and let them install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit. Folks, it attracts, captures, and destroys biological contaminants to improve your air quality. With stellar customer service, answering your call from 7:30 a.m. till 9 o'clock p.m. For more info on high-efficiency air filters and their preventative maintenance plans, visit M&S Air Conditioning at ac-florida.com.
ADHD. It's the child who can't pay attention or sit still in school, right? The answer may be yes. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, can be complicated and it can last a lifetime. Living with a condition can sometimes be a challenge. It may take years to accept a formal diagnosis, and it's not always easy to find the right treatment plan. Did you know that up to 75% of children and adolescents with ADHD have at least one additional mental health condition that also requires a comprehensive approach to treatment? ADHD guidelines were recently updated to reflect the need to screen for associated disorders. Be sure to talk with your child's doctor about proper screening and visit moretoadhd.com for additional information. That's moretoadhd.com. This message has been brought to you in partnership with ADA, ACO, and CHAD.
Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
And I had a really good start to the week betting soccer games. Last couple days, though, woof. Had Manchester City minus a goal and a half. Still time, 61 minutes into the game, but they're tied 2-2 with Newcastle. So if Man City doesn't score two more and win it 4-2 at least, I'm in trouble here. So I'm gonna hopefully Lee Sterling's picks are gonna help me turn it around. He doesn't do soccer, so when I do soccer, I go rogue, and I usually do pretty well, but I've had a couple of tough runs of form as of late. Remember, Omar Kelly is going to join us in about 11 minutes here on Onside Radio. Want to get into Foodie Friday. I want to pick Alex's brain a little bit on this. I want you guys to help on the text line. I'm going to make this a little bit tougher than I made it for Lee Sterling, okay? We've been talking a lot about shortages, computer chip shortages. You know, certain parts of the country, not here, but certain parts of the country had a gasoline shortage when that pipeline was hacked. Chick-fil-A is having sauce shortages. So if we were to get more supply chain shortages when it comes to food and beverages, which two of these could you live without for a couple of months, okay? Let's think about this. If I were to tell you, I'm going to give you four possibilities, and I would say if these get hit by pretty serious shortages, you may have to do without these for a couple of months. Which two of these could you live without until, let's say, July, okay, about 2 months from now? Imagine there was a potato shortage. That means no French fries for a couple months, no potato chips, no baked potatoes, no gnocchi, anything potato-based. You would have to cut it out of your life. Imagine if there was a tomato shortage. I like tomatoes on pretty much anything. I like tomatoes on salad. I like tomatoes in sandwiches. I love tomato sauce. I love pizza, which contains tomato sauce. That would be a rough one for me. Imagine there was a chicken shortage. And you know what? I think there actually is a chicken shortage. I don't think it's that serious yet, but some of these fast food places are experiencing like a bit of a chicken shortage because everyone is pumping out these chicken sandwiches, right? Popeyes started this revolution where then Popeyes starts going head-to-head with Chick-fil-A, and then Wendy's is like, hey, don't forget about our chicken sandwiches, and KFC comes out with a remodeled chicken sandwich. It's this chicken sandwich war, and it's taking a toll on the supply chain. Now, what if there was a coffee shortage? I don't think everybody looks at it the same way that I do. I'm a coffee addict. I can't get through a day without at least 2 coffees. Right? I mentioned a couple of days ago, or a few days ago, I think it was like Tuesday, early afternoon on Tuesday, I was feeling terrible. And I'm thinking, am I getting sick? I'm a little bit lethargic. What's going on? And then I realized because I was really busy that day, I had only had 1 coffee that morning. I think I was experiencing withdrawals. So I couldn't go without coffee for a couple of months. So between the 4 of these, potato shortage, tomato shortage, chicken shortage, and coffee shortage, I've got to have coffee. I can't live without that. And energy drinks taste like ass. Like and not in the good way. Like I'm not about that energy drink life. Like they all taste terrible. You can't convince me. Some of these people are like, bro, energy drinks are so much better than coffee. Get out of here. You just don't like coffee. You're a wuss. So I've got to keep coffee, no question. I got to keep chicken. There's way too many chicken-based things that I eat. So it really comes down to tomatoes and potatoes. I don't think I could go without, and I know that there are ways you can do pizza without tomato sauce, white pizza. I can take it or leave it. I also love red sauce. I love tomatoes on everything, sandwiches. Oh my God. I think I've got to keep. Oh man, I guess if I'm keeping 2 of these, I think I'm keeping tomatoes and I'm keeping coffee and I'm giving up chicken for a couple months because there's enough other white meat, right? I can get pork. I can get beef. I can get lamb. I think there's enough other meats I can eat. I think I'm giving up chicken and I'm giving up potatoes for a couple months if I have to. Any thought on this, Alex Aguirre? If you're getting like serious shortages in the supply chain and you had to give up 2 of these for a couple of months, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, and coffee, which 2 do you keep? Which 2 do you get rid of for a couple months?
I'll get rid of tomatoes and coffee.
See, you're not a coffee drinker.
Yeah.
I knew we were going to hear from people who would say that. I knew it because not everybody runs on coffee the way that I do.
Yeah, I'm not really big on coffee.
Oh man, I think I've got to keep that in there. If there's ever a coffee shortage, I'm going to be hoarding Folgers and Bustelo the way that people have been hoarding gasoline. Like if I ever catch wind of a coffee shortage, you're going to see me in line at Publix filling up my cart with Bustelo cans. I'm going to look like one of these weirdos buying up toilet paper when COVID first started. That's going to be me. If I catch wind of, oh my God, there might be a coffee shortage, I'm going ham. Seinfeld watchers, do you remember the episode where Elaine, was using the sponge birth control, and she kept saying, "Oh, are you sponge worthy?" Because they took the sponge off the market, and so she got the last supply of sponges, but then they were scarce. So when she was going out on dates with dudes, she had to decide: is this guy sponge worthy or not? Am I going to sleep with this guy? If it's hopeless, I'm just going to cut him off right now. That's going to be me with my Bustelo. You're going to see me hoarding cans of coffee, and if anyone comes over, usually I'm a really generous host, guys. Even if you come over to to fix my air conditioning or something, I'm going to offer you coffee. I'm going to offer you coffee, water, a soft drink. I am a generous host. Someone comes over, someone's doing some work in my house, I'm going to offer you any beverage you want. But if there's a coffee shortage, do not think I'm going to waste Bustelo on the AT&T repairman. It ain't happening, folks. It's not happening. Can't live without that. Got to hoard it. 844-416-8123 is how you reach us on the phone lines. 844-416-8123. Marla says, no potatoes or tomatoes for me. Yeah, it's probably potatoes would be tough to give up for a couple months because I love French fries, but that's a sacrifice I can make. There's plenty of other carbohydrates out there. I could still eat pasta. I could still eat rice. I could eat various other fried vegetables. I could live without potatoes for a couple months. Tomatoes would be tough because, again, I love there's 1,000 different ways I use potatoes. I mentioned I could eat lamb, and Marla writes in, baby lambs? I don't know. Do baby lambs taste best? I don't know. I don't what is usually when you're eating lamb, is the lamb fully mature? Because, like, I know with veal, like a lot of the PETA folks have a problem with veal because they slaughter the cow very young to get the veal. It tastes great. Out of sight, out of mind. I don't want to think about where it came from, but if you take away veal scallopine from me, and I don't really buy veal very much because veal is much better overseas. Like, if you eat veal in Europe, oh, you can taste the difference. Like, veal over on this side of the Atlantic Ocean tends to be garbage. You've got to really go to like a nice butcher shop or like a really fancy restaurant to get good veal. It's usually not that great over here. But if you're over in Europe, like if you take a trip to Italy or France, I recommend eating as much veal as possible because it is so delicious over there. When we come back, we're going to talk a little Miami Dolphins football with our good pal Omar Kelly. He always brings the Friday honesty with us here on Onside Radio. Hey, every day at Onside Radio, our hosts sit down at the round table to tackle the most important local or national sports headlines. The round table is podcasted daily, so search Onside Radio on all platforms, subscribe, rate, and review to listen to all kinds of station segments. OnsideRadio.com is the home for South Florida sports.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
Now that it's springtime, it's only getting hotter here in South Florida. Make sure your AC in your home or business is running smoothly by investing in a preventative maintenance plan from M&S Air Conditioning. And M&S is a Mitsubishi Diamond Elite contractor. When you purchase a new Mitsubishi electric mini split system, you'll get a 12-year warranty. Or install a high-efficiency polarized air filter in your AC unit that captures and destroys biological contaminants to improve air quality. M&S Air Conditioning have been providing prompt, honest, and reliable service for over 30 years. Schedule service or call to get more info on our preventative maintenance plans. Call 954-421-3680 or visit ac-florida.com.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
The Miami Heat roll past the Philadelphia 76ers 106-94. Jimmy Butler scored 21 points and led the way offensively. Bam Adebayo added 18 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists. Udonis Haslem made his first appearance of the season last night and was the best 3 minutes of the Heat season so far. He scored 4 points, 1 rebound, and the attitude the Heat have been missing this season. And he got ejected in the second quarter after going after Dwight Howard. The Heat are back in action tomorrow night in Milwaukee. Tip-off is at 8. The Miami Marlins split 4 games against the Arizona Diamondbacks. After a 5-1 win last night, they head to Los Angeles to face the world champion LA Dodgers. First pitch is tonight at 10:10 with Sandy Alcantara on the mound for your fish. Inter Miami CF's next game is this Sunday at 4 p.m. in Cincinnati. You can listen to the pregame show with Big O and Alex Donno at 3 o'clock live from Dangerous Minds Brewing in Pompano, and the call of the game at 4 p.m. with Chris Whittingham, Thomas Rognan, and Fernando Fiori. You're listening to South Florida's only locally owned sports talk station. And coming up, it's more Man of the Match with Alex Donno right here at OnsideRadio.com.
With all this sizzling meat and crunchy veggies nestled between toasty flatbread, who should get credit for Papa John's new papadilla? The person who invented pizza or the person who invented folding? Well, whoever it is, a tip of the tongue hat to you, sir or madam. Get a new papadilla, 4 flavors, just $6 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich, Papa John's.
My daughter Brinley is here at St. Jude. Coming here was literally life or death, and it was so scary. But St. Jude is fighting for one goal, like this one mission, life, and that gave us hope. We haven't received a single bill from St. Jude, so I really can just focus on what's best for Brinley.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Onside Radio, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Brace yourself. You might not hear what you want. You can always expect Omar to keep it real, whether you like it or not. It's time for the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report with Sun Sentinel writer Omar Kelly. EJD is your one-stop shop, custom home builder, and general contractor for residential construction. Call them 305-433-4843. Find them on Facebook at EJD Construction. Here's Omar Kelly with your Miami Dolphins report segment.
Always one of the highlights of the week. On Fridays, we get the Friday Honesty from our good friend Omar Kelly. Covers the Miami Dolphins and the NFL for the South Florida Sun Sentinel. He joins us weekly on the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. Omar, happy Friday to you, man. You got any weekend plans coming up?
It is my birthday on Sunday.
Oh, happy early birthday.
Thank you. And I asked my wife to take me to Red Lobster.
Yeah, so domesticated. Oh, I love it. By the way, those biscuits that you get at Red Lobster, it's hard to find any better, any better bread service on the planet. The Cheddar Bay biscuits are elite.
I challenge you. There used to be one restaurant down south, and I know you know, it's a Dayland. It was like something, I forget what it was. They had the
Hops.
honey.
I know exactly where it was. Hops at
yes.
the Falls. That was elite, and that's been it's closed down for a few years, unfortunately. But that was so good, the bread.
That's the only thing that I would consider it. But here's the thing. I have this theory that when you make something so good that you have to provide it to grocery stores like Checkers fries or Red Lobster's Cheddar Bay biscuits or Hooters wing sauce, there's no competition.
Yep. That's really well said. And speaking on this topic, before we get into some football, I want to run by you our Foodie Friday topic for today. This is inspired by there's so much talk about shortages. Like we had that gasoline shortage scare, and that wasn't real in South Florida, but people still hoard it anyway. That wasn't a real thing. But then I'm reading this week about there's a shortage of sauces at Chick-fil-A. There's all these supply chain problems. I've heard that there could potentially be some chicken shortages because there's more
chicken shortage.
Yeah, which is trouble. So
Black people are in trouble. Chicken shortage.
Listen, man, I'm white and I'm in trouble as well because I eat a lot of chicken too. So let me run a few of these by you. Which two of these could you live without for a couple of months if there was a serious shortage, right? A potato shortage, which is pretty obvious. So many things come from potatoes. Now, I threw this in there, a tomato shortage, because I love tomatoes. I love tomatoes on sandwiches. I love tomato sauce, pizza with tomato sauce. That's a big one for me. A chicken shortage and a coffee shortage. So between coffee, chicken, tomato, potato, which two could you live without for a couple months?
I don't drink coffee, so that's an easy one for me. And in fact, I think all you coffee addicts, you crackheads, you need to wean yourselves off the drug.
You're right.
Coffee
I'm
is a
addicted,
drug.
bro. If I only have one coffee in a day, I get withdrawals. I'm absolutely addicted.
Yeah. No, it is. Coffee is a drug. The bean is a drug.
Yep.
And you people have just injected it into your veins and your bloodstreams. And even my wife, when she was pregnant and breastfeeding, she's not supposed to drink coffee. And then she twisted my arm to let her drink decaf for once in a while. And I'm just like, you know what? My baby's just going to be coked up just on coffee and caffeine.
Pretty much. So you could do without coffee, but which you got to pick one more. So chicken, tomato, potato.
Tomato. I'm not a huge tomato fan. In fact, I only like the little plum tomatoes that you put in salads. Yes, I like it for pizza. Yes, I like it for spaghetti every once in a while. But I'm not really supposed to eat pizza, and I'm damn sure I'm not supposed to eat pasta. So, I could do without tomato for a little bit.
We're joined here by Omar Kelly from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. Now, I know you said on Twitter you didn't want to be talking a whole lot about Tua today, but I did think you made some good points on your tweets, Omar, when you're talking about what separates Tua from, a guy like Josh Rosen who's burned out so far in his NFL career. So what are the factors that make you pretty confident that Tua can be a very good quarterback in this league?
One, let's start with the fact that he has it. If I need to describe what it is to you, then you don't know what it is. But it is the thing that elite quarterbacks have, elite players have, that just make people gravitate around them. There's nobody who's ever interacted with Tua who doesn't tell you, man, there's something special about him. He's got it. So let's start there. Ryan Tannehill does not have it. Never had it, won't have it. So, you start with it. Justin Herbert. I've met him a couple of times. I went to the Senior Bowl specifically to see him. He does not have it. There is not an aura about him. People who have it. You just do. Now, doesn't mean he can't be good. He just doesn't have it. Tua does have it. Now, let's start with the skills. Pocket presence. We saw that during the Tannehill era. Tannehill was fine, but if you needed him to have the feel for what the pocket is doing, you can forget about it. And not to keep throwing shade at Tannehill, but that's just not something that accuracy and pocket presence, to me, based on my experience, based on my knowledge, based on my interviews, based on the insight that I've gotten, those are two things you cannot teach a quarterback. You cannot teach a quarterback how to be accurate on his throws, how to throw with timing and throw with precision, how to throw a receiver in stride. They just have it or they don't. And pocket presence, the feel for when pressure is coming. We saw Dan Marino, that those of us old enough, in his heyday, even without a good leg, his pocket presence was always sensational. He was able to just step up just a little bit, slide just a little bit to give himself alleys and windows and opportunities to throw the football. Tua has that. It's been there since day one. The accuracy, it's been there since day one. There's no question in my mind that he has it, accuracy, and pocket presence, which to me are the starting ingredients for what an elite quarterback needs.
I really enjoyed your column this week in the Sentinel that you put out after the schedule release because, like you, I get kind of annoyed when people bitch and moan every year about schedules. Like, oh my God, we have too many road games early, or
you knew what the schedule looked like 5 months ago.
Yeah, absolutely. But people just love to complain.
No, they do. Understand. This is my 14th year covering the Dolphins, and I've heard the exact same complaints about the schedule every year. And it's just so annoying. The schedule is what the schedule is. Every team can complain about their schedule. There's something about their schedule that they don't like. But you know what? The Dolphins' schedule, outside of the super late bye week, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't complain about it. You end the year at home. You start the year getting rid of these Northeast games. So you're playing not in a blizzard in December, going to Buffalo or New England like we usually have to do. Do you enjoy driving your car an hour in the snow in Buffalo and New England?
I've never driven in snow before, but it sounds like hell, and I'm pretty sure I would get into a terrible accident because I've never driven. I don't know what to do. Are you supposed to drive slower? I don't know.
You don't even know how to de-ice your car, you Miami.
No, not at all. I don't. No.
I had to learn. And I learned in Buffalo. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's, there's nothing to complain about with the schedule. Oh, the opponents are tough. The strength of schedule is tough. Like every year, teams are different. Teams are drastically different. You have no idea what any team is going to be. Last year, we would have thought the Houston Texans would be in the AFC Championship game. Look how sorry they were last year. You never know when a team is going to quit on a coach, or when a quarterback is going to get hurt, or when you're going to lose your top pass rusher, or when your top back is going to catch COVID. You just don't know.
Now, what are a game or two that you're most excited for? Because I'm really looking forward to Week 17 against Ryan Tannehill and the Tennessee Titans, and I'm also I know that this other one's going to be a very, very tough game, but I am looking forward to going up against the champs, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. I'm not saying I'm expecting the Dolphins to win that game, but I'm kind of excited for it. Are those some of the games and any others that stand out to you?
Buffalo games, you better circle them on your wagon, because everything that you do is now meant to keep pace with Buffalo. And then the Baltimore Ravens, always a litmus test for me for this organization as a team. You know who the Ravens are. You know the style that they want to play. They're going to play you. They're the NFL equivalent of Debo.
Yep.
They're going to bully you, punch you in the mouth, and try to intimidate you. How do you respond? And the Dolphins have annually responded poorly.
Yeah, that's very. I mean, they've like the last 3 times the Dolphins have played the Ravens, it's like 150-10. It's like the combined score. They've absolutely demolished the Dolphins. Like it's been really, really bad.
They just play. I mean, and people don't understand my infatuation with the Ravens. They just play a style that's aggressive and physical and punch you in the mouth first, and I just love it. I admire it. I mean, Harbaugh is just the catch me out to me, and that style intimidates teams. It's intimidated Dolphins for over a decade now.
Yeah, it has, and like I've never had like a second team that I actually root for, because I'm not one of those people. But I've always had respect for the Ravens. I mean, think about how long Ray Lewis played there, who I'm a huge fan of from the U, and Ed Reed.
I mean, they had so many people from the U. You had to adopt it. Same thing. I'm a fan of people that I like and cover, or people who are my friends. Like, I love Bruce Arians. I think he's just the coolest dude in the world, or coolest dude in the NFL. Even before we were covering, he was a Super Bowl winning coach. I just thought he was absolutely everything. And I still have respect for him. I'm a big Mike Tomlin guy. I do believe in the Steelers. It'll be interesting to see how they rebound from. They're kind of doing what the Ravens did 2 years ago, where they rebuilt on the fly. And it just doesn't really impact the level of performance, which is so rare and unique to see teams rebuild and still win games.
Yeah.
We would know nothing about that here in Miami.
Yeah, well, listen, we actually won 5 games a couple of years ago. Had no business doing that.
I mean, hey, no, listen, we're Dolphins. Well, according to Brian Flores, they're done rebuilding.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Are you buying that? Like, because I don't feel like it's done yet.
How do I not buy it? How do I not buy it? Like, if you would, when I swear to God, me and Dave Hyde, we argued about this on a whole show of X's Omar's. We argued about it before he said it. I'm like, yes, they're still rebuilding. They're not done. They're not complete. Like, this team can't even sniff what Buffalo has to offer right now. So how are they not still rebuilding? Well, Brian Flores said we're done, and we ain't got no excuse to not be good. And if we don't make noise with these players, then we just don't make noise. But we think we got the players, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like, all right, we're done. We're done with the rebuild. No more excuses. Let's go. This is supposed to be a perennial playoff team from this point out, right?
I hope he's right, because like you, I don't. And listen, I like this team. They're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
But if they're done, we might be in trouble unless he really knows something that we don't.
I mean, maybe he does know something we don't. People, and I wrote this column and people overlooked it, and I know I probably talked to you about it. Hell. Everybody's obsessed that, they didn't complete the backfield. I'm one of those guys. You're one of those guys.
Yeah.
Like, you crunch the numbers. Myles Gaskin was on pace for like nearly 1,600 yards last year. Like, there's no way to deny that, except for, the man caught COVID and suffered a knee injury, had it scoped, and came back in a month. Like, that's impressive. No matter how, there's no way you can say to anybody that's associated with that it's not impressive. He would have been on pace for the fourth most offensive yards in the NFL, came back from a knee surgery in a month, came back from COVID in a week. Like what more did you want from the man?
Yeah, I remember we talked about that a week or two ago, and it was very encouraging. And, hey, before we let you run, Omar, did you see Udonis Haslem last night? Was that not the best 3 minutes? That was the best 3 minutes of basketball all year.
Nothing personifies the man's career more and better than that. And I had a little run-in with Udonis earlier this week, which was, kind of embarrassing for me, but, because I sort of compared what Tim Tebow can have from a cultural standpoint on the Jacksonville Jaguars to what Udonis Haslem has done for the past couple of years. I mean, Tebow doesn't have to play to impart what Urban Meyer's culture is. And Udonis pointed out, one, he was offended, and two, you have to do it for people to buy into you instilling the culture. And it's true. Tebow hasn't done it technically at tight end, but he has played games. He's won last time he was a quarterback in the NFL. That was nearly a damn decade ago.
Yeah.
But, hey, here's the thing about Tebow that kind of bothers me, and I'm not even a Tebow fan, but I just know how the media works. One, we're going to beat this to death because we got nothing else to talk about other than Brett Favre.
100%.
I mean, other than Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, yes. But let's not act like Tebow didn't walk on water for like a decade.
Literally.
There was nothing he couldn't do. People joke that he was like the football equivalent of Jesus, other than Tom Brady, who is the real football equivalent of Jesus. And now, all of a sudden, because he's 33 years old and hasn't played football, even though he's played professional baseball or amateur baseball, this guy can't learn how to play tight end. Like, people begged him to go play tight end. He just wouldn't do it. And now Urban Meyer's here. Why shouldn't he be one of 90 guys on a training camp roster?
That's my thing.
Why?
Yeah, I think I think the outrage is a little bit premature. We can cross the bridge if he makes the 53. We can cross the bridge when we get to it. Like, if he makes the 53, and it doesn't look like he's really earned it, then we can have this conversation.
I swear to God, Nick O'Leary is going to be on some team's training camp roster, and Nick O'Leary has just as much of a chance to make an impact as a tight end as Tim Tebow. Trust me, I've seen Nick O'Leary. There ain't much to him. No offense to Jack Nicholson.
I was going to say, the most to him is the famous grandpa helps, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Tebow, I'm sorry. If Tim Tebow's 250 pounds, he can be an H-back. Now, can he be an inline blocking tight end? No. But Mike Gesicki can't be an inline blocking tight end. People want to pay him $10 million a year. Calm down. Tim Tebow can figure out how to make an impact as an H-back, all right? You carry the ball. Would you prefer he be called a fullback? What do people want from this man?
That's all the time we have. Great stuff as always here from Omar Kelly. You can check out his work in the South Florida Sun Sentinel, sunsentinel.com on the sports page, and follow him on Twitter. He's very active on social media, so make sure you follow him at Omar Kelly. Omar, thank you so much, and enjoy the biscuits at Red Lobster. I'm envious now.
Yeah, it's a birthday turn up. I'm look how I'm getting in my old age.
Dude, your birthday turn up used to be at Club Space.
Yeah.
Now it's at Red Lobster.
No, it wasn't at Club Space. But yeah, I don't know. People want to get me to go out, but I'm even though we can go maskless now, I'm still kind of scared. I got a 2-month-old in the house. So
yeah, no, fair enough, man. Everybody, everybody needs to do what they're comfortable with, and I'm totally with you. I find myself. And I'm vaccinated, and yet I still find myself being pretty careful with masks and stuff everywhere. So yeah, man, I encourage people to do whatever makes them feel comfortable.
All CDC did yesterday was just encourage people to pretend like they have vaccines, and I'm like, you know what? Go ahead. I'm vaccinated. You're vaccinated. If you want to go out on these streets without a mask and pretend like you're not you're vaccinated and you aren't, and you catch COVID, good luck to you. Hope you don't die.
Yeah, no, amen to that. Omar, thank you so much, man. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, talk to you later.
Good stuff there. We'll wrap up the 4 o'clock, or have we technically already wrapped it up? I think we went a little long there, which happens, man, because we have good conversations with Omar. We'll keep it locked. 5 o'clock hour coming up here on Onside Radio. Hey, Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com. That's why every week, as you just did, you keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports and when news breaks. Catch the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com.
This has been the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report with Omar Kelly. From additions to home remodeling, call Eric at 305-433-4843. Count on a company that's an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. EJDconstruction.com.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You're listening to OnsideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the Radio.net app. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station.
Hey, it's Toast, and no doubt last year hurricane season was one of the craziest we've ever seen. Well, Noah's saying once again, going to be another active season. So you need to call B&T Windows and Doors today and get PGT custom windows and doors installed like I did so that you are fully protected. Listen, there's no better peace of mind than PGT custom windows and doors when you're in the cone of death for a Category 5 storm. Call B&T Windows and Doors today to get set up. 954-233-0126. That's 954-233-0126.
Miami Dolphins fans can always count on the best coverage at OnsideRadio.com. Every week, keep up with your favorite team as Dolphins writer Omar Kelly joins us with exclusive reports. And when news breaks, catch the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report on the home for Dolphins fans everywhere, OnsideRadio.com. You're listening to the flagship station of Inter Miami CF, OnsideRadio.com. Follow us on social media at Onside Radio. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno.
It's all yours. Just keep it right here.
You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, 5 o'clock hour, a Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Oh, I'm Alex Donno, and I'm with you guys here on OnsideRadio.com. Hey, in 20 minutes, we're going to talk some soccer with Frank Crivello from the Serie A sit-down on World Football Index. He's going to join us. Huge thanks again to Omar Kelly, who's already been on with us. Alphonse Sidney, we talked some heat with him. He's fantastic. Went over some bets with Lee Sterling. I couldn't believe this when I saw it. Jeannie Buss, majority owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. Jeannie Buss made an appearance on the All the Smoke podcast. Now, this was back in April. I don't know how I think the reason why we're just catching wind of it now, I guess, is because of the reaction. But this totally flew under my radar a month ago or so, or a few weeks ago when she was on the show. But Jeannie Buss appeared in April on the All the Smoke podcast, and she gave her list. Now, this is the person in charge of the Los Angeles Lakers, and obviously it's been in the Buss family, so she's grown up with the Los Angeles Lakers. She gave out her top 5 list of the most important Lakers of all time. This is so bad, it's scandalous. And, like, it's not like this person is just a random Lakers fan. For the people who are trying to downplay this, like, oh, it's not a big deal. No. She owns the goddamn team. And the team has been owned by her goddamn family for generations. You've got to do better than this. Like, if Mickey Arison was on the All the Smoke pod and he gave out his 5 most important Miami Heat players and he left Alonzo Mourning off the list, like, you'd be pretty pissed, right? Like, Mickey, like, what, bro, are you drunk? You own the team. How do you leave one of the most important players off the list? It's crazy. So these are the top 5 most important Lakers of all time. Like, we're not talking current players, not talking the last 2 decades, all time. She included Kobe Bryant, fine, he belongs. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, okay. Phil Jackson, won many, many rings as a coach, okay. Magic Johnson, yes. LeBron James. I mean, but here's the really offensive part about it. She leaves off Jerry West. And Jerry West, God bless him. Now, usually when senior citizens complain, I get kind of annoyed, like, Grandpa's ranting again. Old man rants, right? Old man rants. But you know what? This is an old man rant I can get behind. Jerry West is 82 years old. This is one of the most accomplished Lakers and front office executives in NBA history. Best GM of all time. Like, this guy's the logo. He's the freaking logo. You can't do a top 5 most important all-time Lakers list and include Jerry West. It's a slap in the face to Jerry. It's a slap in the face to the history of the franchise. It's a slap in the face to the NBA. Everyone who's ever been a fan of that sport, to not include Jerry West is a freaking slap in the face. And Jerry commented on it. He said to CBS Los Angeles, "You go, Jerry. I'm supportive of this. We should cancel Jeannie Buss. People have been canceled for less in cancel culture, right?" He said, "I saw the other day, Jeannie Buss made a statement, the 5 most important Lakers. One of the most offensive things I've ever heard in my life," he said. Yeah, Jerry. "I was there a lot of times. I had a lot of success," he said. "Be curious to know if they would have had that success if I hadn't been there." No, Jerry, I don't think they would have. And I don't ever take credit for stuff, Jerry said. I don't. When I was around, maybe I was just a good luck charm. But I do know that when this thing fell apart, there was a lot of years where they weren't very good. So Jerry West called it one of the most offensive things I've ever heard in my life. Now, this is a 2-parter for me on the offenses. I am not only offended on Jerry West's behalf that they left him off the list, that Jeannie left him off the list, slap in the face. But do you really include the mercenary that is LeBron James? Like, listen. Now, okay. I wouldn't be as offended if someone included LeBron James on a Miami Heat list of 5 most important, because this franchise hasn't been around for very long. Like, the Lakers were already, along with the Celtics, one of the 2 most decorated franchises well before the Miami Heat were even founded. So historically speaking, you don't have the same sort of data and resume. So if you were to say LeBron James, who won, he helped, he rode Dwayne Wade's coattails to win 2 championships here, and if he hadn't, disappeared in 2 of those finals, they would have won 4. But LeBron James, if you were to try to argue him being one of the most 5 important Heat players, I could have that conversation with you. I could. But you can't do it with the Lakers, because not only was Jerry West left off that list. Hello, Shaquille O'Neal. Hello, anyone home? Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, James Worthy. They didn't make Jeannie Buss's list. Jerry West didn't make the list. Shaq, Wilt, Elgin Baylor, James Worthy, Jerry West get left off of her list.
George Mikan.
Yes, George Mikan. And it's an insult that she includes LeBron James. Like, no one's going to remember LeBron James as a Laker when it's all said and done. And I got news for you. LeBron James could not care less about the Lakers franchise, whereas Jerry West bled, sweat, and tears he gave to that Lakers franchise. LeBron James only cares about his brand, cares about communist China. I don't think LeBron James cares about the Lakers. He cares about LeBron, right? It's the reason why LeBron changes teams so often, right? I mean, and listen, you can say winning championships with 3 different franchises is impressive, and it is. But that's also strategic by LeBron, because in being a guy who's collected rings at multiple different stops, he is ensuring that his individual brand is bigger than any of the 3 teams that he played for. So he's going to be remembered as LeBron James, the icon, not that guy who played for the Cavaliers or that guy who played for the Lakers or for the Miami Heat. So, I mean, this guy is not even a true steward of the Los Angeles Lakers franchise. He's there out of convenience. LeBron James is in Los Angeles not because that guy, like Kobe Bryant, who is on her list, yes, okay? But Kobe Bryant loved the Los Angeles Lakers. Kobe Bryant was an amazing icon and a steward of the Lakers brand. And Kobe did what he did not only for his own brand and for his own, for his own, to support his family and make all the money and whatever, but, Kobe did it to really prop up the Lakers franchise, where LeBron is only doing it for him. I think it's an insult to include LeBron James as one of the 5 top Lakers of all time. Like, it's absolutely scandalous. Like, why? I heard Big O talked about this, and he kind of accused Jeannie Buss of, like, doing it to spare LeBron's feelings. Maybe it's partly that. It also could be just, Jeannie Buss is, like, trying to go out of her way to promote what they have there right now, right? So maybe she's trying to, like, make sure, hey, by the way, we got this guy here, this mercenary carpetbagger, LeBron James, he's here right now. Why don't we promote him? It's just incredibly short-sighted, and it's disrespectful to the history of that franchise to leave off some of the players that she left off, especially Jerry West. Mike No Go Zone says, it sounds like Buss is simping for LeBron James. Maybe it is about his feelings. Maybe Jeannie Buss wants to make sure that the current superstar is happy. I mean, why not throw Anthony Davis in there as well, then, if you're going to throw LeBron James in there? It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, if we were to make a list, and I think we can include coaches in this, if we were going to make a list of the top 5 most important Heats, who would they be? Obviously Riley. Obviously Wade. I'd definitely throw LeBron. I'd throw in Timmy Hardaway. Who would be the 5th? Is it Alonzo? No, sorry, I meant to say Alonzo already. So Riley, Wade, Alonzo, Timmy. Is LeBron the 5th? I think that's the question. Bosh? No, yeah, I'd probably put Bosh over LeBron. That's just me. I'm Team Petty.
I put the big 3, and then Pat Riley.
So you're only leaving one spot for Alonzo or Timmy,
and
huh?
Alonzo, yeah. I think Bosh and LeBron were more important than Tim Hardaway. I think Alonzo. I think if you have to pick one person from that era, because
Alonzo was because
they didn't win anything.
He helped get the ring too, Alonzo.
Yes, that's why I give him the nod. And I think if one person was to say, okay, who established the culture down here as a player, it's Alonzo. Tim Hardaway was definitely part of that, and he was they were like the Batman and Robin, but like Alonzo is the Miami Heat. You only think of Tim Hardaway because of Alonzo Mourning with the Miami Heat. And at the end of the day, that era, they didn't win anything, unfortunately. So that's why I give the nod to Bosh and James, because at the end of the day, they won here.
Here's a crazy thought. Should Haslam be in over one of those people?
And then we're counting out Shaq as well. But I get
Shaq is not in.
No, okay. He's not in my top 5 either.
He's not in the top 5. But the thing is,
important. Haslam, I think, has to make it. Then I take out.
He's the longest tenured Heat player ever. And listen, I know people are gonna say, oh, he's played like 7 minutes the last 3 seasons. Dude, he's still so important. Like you include him like the same way you would include Pat Riley as a coach and executive, like you include Udonis Haslem because of what he meant for the culture, and in his physical prime, was a pretty damn good player. He was the Dirk stopper in 2006. Udonis Haslem had a pretty damn good prime, a physical prime, and he's still, he's been living off of that equity to be the keeper of Heat culture. So, man, I'd put Udonis in there. So I go Riley, Wade, UD. I think I'd probably take Bosch out. I hate to say it. And listen, I could tell you I'd take LeBron out, but then people will just accuse me of being a troll. Like, I can't. I got to leave LeBron in. So I'd go LeBron, Udonis, Alonzo, Wade, Riley. That's my 5. Feel pretty good about it. I do. I hate having LeBron in there, but it makes sense for LeBron to be on the Heat list, but not on the Lakers list. I mean, the Lakers have like a century more history than the Heat have. There have been so many more iconic players that have come through there. Like, it's an insult for LeBron to be in Jeannie Buss's top 5 all-time Lakers list, and he's not yet won as many rings there. And I don't think they're going to win it this year, by the way. He's not yet won as many rings there as he won even in Miami. And he's not been there even as long quite yet. I think this is his 3rd year there, and he was in Miami for 4 years. So yeah, I think he's got to make it in. He's got to make it in the Heat list. 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. And this is an incredible story, and a huge shout out. I think it was Brooklyn Rob in the chat for pointing this out. Have you heard about this, Alex? Lottery winner in California throws away $26 million ticket in the laundry. From the New York Post, the first sentence of the story is elite. This is not the best way to launder money, they write. A lottery winner who bought a winning $26 million Super Lotto Plus ticket at a California gas station last year accidentally washed away her winnings in the laundry, according to KTLA TV. The unidentified woman had until yesterday to claim her prize, and speculation about the unclaimed fortune made national news in recent days. That's right. So she won this last year. They give you a lot of time to collect, apparently. Like, you have a long grace period to actually show up and collect your winnings. And so this had been going on for months, and people were wondering, hey, we had a $26 million ticket was sold. It's unclaimed. So it made national news in recent days. The manager of the Arco AMPM outside of Los Angeles, who only gave his name as Frank to KTLA, told the station that surveillance video showed a regular customer buying the golden ticket in November. On a recent visit to the business, the woman, who is in her 40s, told Frank she inadvertently washed away the fortune, according to the station. Surveillance footage of the transaction was recorded over by the gas station, according to the outlet. However, even if it were intact, the footage would not be sufficient evidence for a payout. Oh, my God. If the prize is unclaimed, a one-time payout of $19.7 million will go to California's public schools, according to the state. So that's actually pretty cool. So this woman really screwed herself over, but then it ends up kind of being a net positive because they send that money to the schools. That's, it sucks for her, but it's good for the state of California. More than $1 billion in unclaimed prizes has been given to Golden State schools, officials said. The gas station in Norwalk, California, where a woman bought a winning $26 million, I guess that's just like an ending to the story. That's so wild. Like, over $1 billion in unclaimed prizes have been given to Golden State schools. If you're going to go through the trouble to buy a lottery ticket, don't you check it? Don't you save it? Like, that's so, like, are people just expecting to lose every time? So why do you buy it in the first place if you're not going to check it or save it? It's crazy. You put it through the laundry? My God. That is unbelievable. Oh, this woman, for the rest of her life, like every time, and I don't know her financial situation. I'm guessing if, she's a regular inside a gas station and she's buying lottery tickets, I'm guessing she's not a billionaire, right? I'm guessing she's not independently wealthy. So, like, the next time this woman is, like, looking at her rent or her mortgage payment, it's like, man, I'm really struggling to put together the money today. Oh, yeah, you remember that time I washed a $26 million winning lottery ticket away in the laundry? Oh, my God. That is so ridiculous. That's like something you would see in a 90s sitcom. Like, I'm pretty sure Everybody Loves Raymond did an episode like this. It's wild. $26 million down the freaking drain, literally. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. I don't know if I feel bad for that woman or if I just say this is like natural selection. Like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that. That's just a dummy, and you get what you deserve. Really, really tough. 844-416-8123 is how you reach us on the text line. That's 844-416-8123. Eric Spoelstra, by the way, he was asked last night if the Heat would like, or he said that the Heat would like Udonis Haslem to return next season. He was asked if he's lobbied for Haslem to come back. He says, a little bit. Quote, it's not like I've been openly recruiting him, but I just continue to tell him, like, we don't have to make any kind of decision now. He said, let's kick this down the road. Everybody knows in this building, but most importantly in that locker room, the level of impact that he has. That's developing leaders in that locker room and helping teach and cultivate a culture that means something to us. It's not him just barking that out. It's rolling up his sleeves and developing the next wave of leaders in the Heat culture, and I just think that's been amazing. And right there, folks, that's the difference between Udonis Haslem and Tim Tebow. I've gotten really tired this week about people saying, well, how's Tebow on a roster any different than Udonis Haslem being on a roster? Tebow, he doesn't have any kind of respect in the Jacksonville Jaguars locker room. These guys don't know Tebow. Like, they know Tebow as a meme. Like, they know Tebow as a guy they watched on TV growing up. Like, he doesn't have any cachet in the Jaguars locker room. Like, what, he's just going to show up and because he's performed like 6 miracles in his life, that he's going to instantly get the full respect of the Jaguars locker room that he's never been in before? Udonis Haslem has been in the Heat locker room for 18 years. Longest tenured Heat player of all time. This is a guy who commands respect. Dwight Howard learned that the hard way last night. Udonis Haslem, old school, enforcer mentality, no nonsense, no bullshit, no laziness, no lollygagging. You know, that guy is basically a coach in the locker room. And he's got the cachet, he's got the equity of being a 3-time champion on that Miami Heat roster. He gets the respect of everyone in that locker room because he's earned it and he deserves it. Trying to say that Tim Tebow in the Jags locker room is the same thing as UD in the Heat locker room, it's an insult. It's a fallacy. Could not be farther from the case. Tebow has not earned any of that respect in Jacksonville the way Udonis Haslem has earned it time and time and time again over the course of an 18-year career in Miami. Why don't they just make him a coach, Enrique says. It's a weird one. He says he doesn't want to coach. Like, Udonis, in a sadistic way, he enjoys going through practices. Like, most players do not enjoy practicing. They just, they do it because it's a necessary evil to play in the games. Like, Udonis loves it. Like, he's sadistic. Like, he enjoys going through the rigors of, training camp, preseason camp, practices throughout the season, even though, like, he doesn't get the payoff of playing. Like, he feels like his leadership can only be instituted if he's actually on the practice court and in the locker room with his teammates. That's the weird thing about UD. When we come back, we're going to talk some soccer. Got a big weekend coming up with Champions League spots on the line in the Serie A. And I hope Brooklyn Rob is still listening because my Inter will have a chance to knock his Juventus out of the Champions League tomorrow at noon. That's going to be a lot of fun, that game. Hey, Saturdays from 1 to 3 p.m., baseball fans can go deep into the count with Alex Aguirre and Christian Chase. Catch the show that talks Marlins and all the big stories in the major leagues. Every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m., Seamheads have a new home. Listen to Deep Into the Count exclusively at OnsideRadio.com.
We'll be right back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can join us on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. You can now watch Onside Radio daily by subscribing to our YouTube and Twitch channels. Search Onside Radio. Log on, subscribe, rate, and review Onside Radio on YouTube and Twitch. Find out why Big O has a face for radio. OnsideRadio.com, South Florida's home for real sports talk.
If you're looking for a change from the everyday restaurant, then you need to get to Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant in Pompano Beach. Brats, Wiener Schnitzel, homemade potato pancakes, pretzels with mustard, and lots of German beer. Take their famous Boot Tour Challenge, and there's now outdoor seating available in their new beer garden with live music. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Checkers Old Munchin Restaurant, or call them for reservations or pickup at 954-785-7565. So get over to 2209 East Atlantic Boulevard in Pompano Beach to Zagat-rated Checkers Old Munchin German Restaurant.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty, to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
You're listening to the station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com. Broadcasting from South Florida to the world. You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. Check this out. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Yeah, weekend is almost here, my friends. Weekend is, officially starts at 6 o'clock when I get off the air, so let's get our beers ready for that. Man of the Match with you guys until 6 o'clock here tonight. We go out to the guest line, bring in our very good friend, Frank Crivello, co-founder and co-host of the Serie A Sit-Down podcast. They film their shows live. You guys can chat with them on YouTube on Sunday nights. He and his co-host, Richard Carmen, do an awesome job. Frank, happy Friday to you. Good afternoon. How you been?
I've been good, man. Happy Friday to you as well.
Thanks so much. Hey, before we talk a little Italian soccer, I want you to weigh in on the Foodie Friday for today. Now, since everybody this week has been talking about shortages, right? We had some gasoline shortages this week with that pipeline hack. I'm reading about Chick-fil-A being short on sauces, maybe some of the fast food joints being short on chicken. So if we potentially had shortages for some of these staple foods, tell me which two you could live without for a couple of months, right? If we had a potato shortage, which of course would affect things that people love, like French fries and potato chips, baked potatoes, gnocchi, all that good stuff. A tomato shortage, which for us Italian Americans could be tough to be without, pizza sauce and pasta sauce, and I put tomatoes on just about everything. If there were a chicken shortage, that would be of big effect. And Frank, a big one for me, I would have a hard time if there was a coffee shortage. So between coffee, chicken, tomatoes, potatoes, which two out of those four could you live without for a few months?
Wow, this is hard. Potatoes for sure. I think you can do without them. Yep. Fries, chips, gnocchi. Up in our neck of the woods, further north, and in Minnesota, they have a product called lefse, which is basically the Norwegian tortilla, which they make out of potato. But I think you can take that out of your diet, and there's plenty of other ways to get your starch.
Agreed. Yeah.
But man, after that, you're killing me because I still want them all. I think I can figure out how to do it without coffee.
Well, see, I couldn't. I couldn't because I'm not a big fan of energy drinks. I love coffee.
I could do tea. I could do English breakfast tea, and I have done it in the past, and it's fine. So, if you're telling me for 2 months that I got to, that I've got to go on English breakfast tea instead of coffee, I can live with that.
That's well said. I always love that every time we run these by Frank, it's always very, very well thought out, and I really, really appreciate it. And hey, we got a big weekend coming up, Frank. Of course, even though Inter, who I support, have already they've already wrapped up their Scudetto, still a really big matchup with Juventus tomorrow. Obviously, theoretically it's more important to Juve fighting for Champions League than it is to Inter, but I also know Antonio Conte would not mind, knocking Juventus out of Champions League, and a lot of Interisti would agree. Last I haven't put any action on that game, at least not yet. The last I saw yesterday, Juventus were favored in that game. It is at the J. It is in Turin tomorrow. What are you expecting to happen there? Because that's a really, really big game, and it not only affects Juventus, Frank. It would also, an Inter victory would immediately clinch Champions League for AC Milan, who you support and cover. So there's a lot of ripple effects from this game. How do you expect that one to play out noon tomorrow?
Boy, I tell you what, it's going to be a heck of a game. It sounds like, if reports are to be believed, Conte is going to put his best 11 out against Juventus. So if you want to take a whack at Inter plus 210, and if you believe those reports, I would jump on that if you had that sort of thing available where you live. But I don't have that here in Wisconsin, unfortunately. But that's that's something that I wouldn't mind taking a shot at. Based on the reports, it sounds like Antonio Conte does want to play his best 11. Their preparations for this game are very interesting. A boxing match between
Conte and Lautaro
and Antonio Conte, and having a barbecue and things like that. So, but they've earned the right to prepare however they want for the rest of the season as champions by a distance. So, I don't think Juventus were all that convincing midweek against Sassuolo, and then against Milan on Sunday, they were predictable without having a plan B.
Yep.
And I'd be very, very concerned if I'm a Juventus fan going into this game if you're hearing Inter's going to put out their best team. You're also hearing, Romelu Lukaku is saying things like, no, we want to win this game. I mean, it's the Derby d'Italia. Inter fans like yourselves want to win this game. We
100%.
love nothing more than to put Juventus out of the Champions League and into the Europa League for next season. So this game is a big deal. I think that this will suit Inter's style well, because it's going to be an environment where I think Juve is going to have to go for it and have the ball, and Inter can sit back and just completely break Juve down on the counter. I think you'll see Chiellini back out there again for Juve to try to deal with Lukaku. And I think you'll see De Ligt. And for what it's worth, I thought De Ligt was really good against Milan on Sunday, especially in the first half. But and this will be funny, because I'm going to predict Juve to win this game 2-1, and I'm only doing this, Alex, because I think on your show I've gotten just about every single prediction wrong. So, I want Inter to win. I want Inter to win, so I'm going to go the reverse psychology route here and predict that Juventus win 2-1, so that if Inter wins, I can celebrate as a Milan fan. The Champions League is clinched, and if Juve wins, I look good. So I think it's going to be one of those. It's going to be chippy. These teams are going to have a go at each other. I don't know who let me see. If I can pull up who the referee is. For this game.
I saw it. It's the guy with the really good hair, like the slick back kind of black hair. Yes. It's funny because I actually I know a lot of Italian referees based on their hair, because there's the one that looks like Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother, and then there's the guy with the really good slicked back hair. That tends to be how I know my Italian referees.
Yep, and he averages over 4.5 yellow cards a match. So the cards are going to come flying. So if this game does get chippy, there are going to be players booked. Would not surprise me if there was a sending off for either team. But I think that this is going to be a 2-1 game. I'm going to tip it to Juventus for the reverse psychology factor that has worked out and not worked out for me on your show. And I'll say that it's going to be just some odd goals. Cristiano might get on the score sheet for one, but the sources of goals aren't going to be what we typically expect. So let's have Juve narrowly edging this just to make it interesting for match week 38.
So here's the 60 million euro gross per season question. If Juve get knocked out of Champions League, what happens with Cristiano? Because without Champions League revenue coming in, that would give Juventus even more motivation to try to move his wages off the books. But I also imagine that still, with some of these effects of the COVID economy, it's going to be challenging potentially to find someone to take on his wages. So what do you think happens there?
I think he goes. If Juve don't make Champions League, I think Ronaldo's out the door. I even think if they make Champions League, he's out the door. I think that they've taken this as far as they possibly can. It hasn't worked out. Paying Cristiano Ronaldo so much has really, really unbalanced Juventus from a squad standpoint. It's hit them a little bit from a depth standpoint as well. And I think that if Juventus were smart, all right, they've gotten the revenue from having a player like Cristiano Ronaldo in their team. They've probably paid off the transfer fee and some of the other costs that go with it. I think it's time to just go ahead and cash in and get what you can from him and restructure this team to build itself to be one of the top clubs and to be the top club in Italy again and win Scudetti year in and year out.
Yeah, well said. And so, another big game for Champions League implications. Well, it may not actually be that big depending on what happens tomorrow, but AC Milan take on Cagliari on Sunday. Now, explain the scenario to me, and I certainly know, I figure you would know this. So if Juventus do win tomorrow, could Milan still clinch on Sunday with a victory, or would they have to wait until next week?
If Milan and Atalanta win, Milan will be through.
Nice.
I think that if Juventus win, Milan win, and Atalanta somehow lose to Genoa, then Milan still have to either win or actually get a point at Atalanta to qualify. Now, I think if Atalanta also can draw at Genoa, and Milan will be through because it'll be all about head-to-head with Juventus at that point.
Okay.
So I have declared to anyone who wants to listen, Atalanta is not losing to Genoa. They've been on a mission to get 3 points each and every week, and they're going to get it. They're going to get it again against Genoa. I mean, at minimum, they're going to tie. I cannot see them losing to Genoa at this point. Milan get a Cagliari team that statistically don't look safe, but realistically they are. They have the fortune of Torino being in 16th and Benevento in 18th. And they have the fortune of those two playing each other on match day 38. So one's going to stay and one's going to go. And I think Cagliari have enough points where they're going to be fine. And which, when you get in that situation, you probably have said, all right, we're over the line. These next two games don't matter. And we could see a Cagliari coming to the San Siro that are already at the beach, as we like to say. I won't bank on that, but it could very well be. And you've got a Milan that are playing for, still playing for top four. I think Milan will win. I hope that's not a reverse psychology thing. And I think Atalanta will win against Genoa. And then it comes down, for Juve's chances to try to reach top four, can Fiorentina beat Napoli on Sunday, which Fiorentina is starting to find some good form. Dusan Vlahovic is on an absolute tear scoring goals, but this Napoli team are in unbelievable form at the right time too. And I can't see Fiorentina beating Napoli. So I think that 2, 3, and 4, as it looks in the standings, are all going to win. And if that scenario plays out, it's not going to matter what Juventus do against Inter. I mean, it'll only matter to Napoli what Juventus do against Inter, and then Atalanta and Milan are going to clinch.
Really well said, as always. Enjoy the English breakfast tea for the next couple of months. Frank Crivello does an awesome job, and make sure you guys tune in to he and Richard Carmen on Sunday nights. Serie A, I'll sit down live on YouTube, and then podcast replays are great. I usually end up listening to the podcast replay on Monday during my very, very long commute home because I need stuff to listen to when I'm driving, and I love the content. Frank, thank you so much, and make sure you guys follow him at FTC_21. Frank, thank you so much, man, and enjoy the games this weekend.
No problem. And the beauty of your Foodie Friday question is that it's hypothetical. I will have coffee in the morning.
Yeah, same here. I'll have several. Talk to you later, man.
Take care.
Awesome. Good stuff there. Yeah, I know that coffee is one of those things where there's a ton of addicts like me. No question. No question. All right, we continue. On the other side, I'm going to step into the round table and talk about the upcoming playoff run for the Florida Panthers, because with all the big South Florida sports happenings this weekend, Sunday's going to be big. Inter Miami taking on FC Cincinnati. It's really a must-win game. Got to turn around and come back from the performance on Wednesday night, which wasn't good. Cincinnati are beatable. You got to win. And for what it's worth, Inter Miami's road form has been better than their home form this season. This might be one of those teams that just rallies better when they're on the road. I don't love that because I'd rather them play their best soccer in front of the home fans, and I think that's going to come. I think we're going to have a lot of great games here at Drive Pink Stadium, but in recent memory over these last, really so far this season, Inter Miami have been much better on the road than they've been at home. We'll step into the roundtable when we come back. Hey, Onside Radio understands gaming is a big part of the sports landscape. That's why every day we keep you updated with some of the latest gaming news with Onside Radio's E-Minute, hosted by Toast, Kai, and Michael Christian. If you miss it, it's podcasted daily. Search Onside Radio on all platforms, subscribe, rate, and review. OnsideRadio.com, the station gamers call home.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnsideRadio.com.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that. Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
She's kind of young, so I don't know. She may not be into Van Halen much. Let's see. Hey, Ruthie, good afternoon. Are you a Van Halen fan?
You know, I just had to Google Van Halen. I'm not going to lie to you. I just literally have it on my computer right now.
The Onside Zone with Big O. Weekdays 11 to 1 p.m. Only on OnsideRadio.com. Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
The Miami Heat rolled past the Philadelphia 76ers last night, 106-94. Jimmy Butler led the way offensively with 21 points, and Bam added 18 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists. Udonis Haslem made his first appearance of the season last night, getting 4 points, a rebound, and getting ejected in the second quarter with an altercation with Dwight Howard. The Miami Heat are back in action tomorrow night against the Milwaukee Bucks. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. The Miami Marlins split their 4-game series against the Arizona Diamondbacks after a 5-1 win last night. They head to Los Angeles to face the world champion LA Dodgers for a weekend series. First pitch is tonight at 10:10. Sandy Alcantara and Clayton Kershaw is your pitching matchup for tonight. Inter Miami CF's next match is 4 p.m. Sunday in Cincinnati. You can listen to the pregame show with Big O and Alex Donno at 3 o'clock, live from Dangerous Minds Brewing in Pompano. And the call of the game starts at 4 p.m. with Chris Whittingham, Thomas Rognan, and Fernando Fiori. You're listening to South Florida's only locally owned sports talk station. And coming up, it's more of Man of the Match with Alex Donno right here at OnSideRadio.com.
You're listening to the only sports station in South Florida that likes to take your calls. 888-441-4623. We connect with a South Florida sports fan because we are South Florida. Locally owned and operated. 888-441-4623. OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk.
When you're tired of watching the sun damage your furniture or raise your electric bill, it's time to do what we did here at OnSideRadio.com studio. Call A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie and Sunrise. A Shade Above Window Fashions has a great selection of blackout shades to choose from. We can almost create a complete blackout for your bedroom or media room. Call them at 954-434-4774. That's 954-434-4774. Love the space you live in. A Shade Above Window Fashion.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Stanley Cup playoffs start for South Florida hockey fans. Let's step into the roundtable. Every single day, all of the hosts here on Onside Radio, Toast in the morning, Kai Chen, Chisholm, 10 a.m. to noon, Big O, noon to 3, me. We step into the roundtable and we weigh in on a big topic in the local or national sports scene. This one, of course, a little bit of both because Stanley Cup Finals, Stanley Cup playoffs, I should say, very much a national, international even, because they love it in Canada as well, story, but it centers around the local team. So here's the Friday roundtable question. The Florida Panthers this weekend, they start their playoff run versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. Will Florida win their first playoff series since the mid-90s? How many games will this best-of-7 series last? I'm going to tread lightly here for a couple reasons. Tampa Bay Lightning are a battle-tested team. They're the defending Stanley Cup champions. They know how to turn it on in the postseason, and they're supremely talented, including their goaltender, Andrei Vasilevsky. If you only watched him against the Panthers this year, you don't think he's very good. He's excellent, okay? So I'm going to tread lightly. However, I think home ice advantage is going to end up being decisive here for the Florida Panthers, just by a hair. I think there's a reason why the Panthers really gave it 110% against the Tampa Bay Lightning in those two games to wrap up the regular season, even though you knew this is the team we're going to face in the first round. You know, whether we win both these games, split these games, or lose both of these games, we got the same matchup in the first round. It's just a question of, do we play 4 out of 7 in Tampa, or do we play 4 out of 7 in Sunrise? And clearly that meant more to the Panthers than it meant to the Tampa Bay Lightning, because the Panthers punched them right in the jaw over those final two games, Saturday night and Monday night. And I think having that home ice is going to be decisive. I think this is going to come to Game 7. I think we're going to get a Game 7 in Sunrise. It's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be close. The entire series is going to be chippy. And the reason why I'm giving the slight edge to the Panthers is home ice advantage really is going to mean something now. I mean, last year you were in a bubble. There was no real home ice last year. You were playing in in secluded sites north of the Canadian border. This year in the state of Florida, you've got now these buildings open to 50% capacity. There's going to be 9,000 plus Florida Panthers fans, and I don't want to hear your jokes about, well, they wouldn't get 9,000 if it was completely open. Shut up. You would in the playoffs. Absolutely. I've been to playoff games in that arena within the last 10 years when they played the New Jersey Devils. Game 7, that place was insane. When they played the Islanders 4 years ago in that building, that place was absolutely insane. Even at 50% capacity, the building is going to be rocking. And this Panthers team this year, I wouldn't be saying this about the Panthers from last year who lost to the Islanders in the play-in. I wouldn't be saying this about the Panthers team a few years ago that lost to the Islanders in 6, because those were finesse-based Florida Panthers teams, and when the physicality amped up in the playoffs, they didn't rise to the occasion. They shrunk in the occasion, especially when, I think it was 2016, when we faced the Islanders in that playoff series that ended up going 6. A guy who was instrumental in getting you to the playoffs, I think he was 46, 47 years old that year, Jaromir Jagr, was excellent in the regular season. And Jagr's one of the most decorated NHL players of all time. So I'm not ripping on Jagr. I'm ripping on how old he was at that time, because once you got to the playoffs, Jagr's mid-40s body could not hold up to the playoff rigors, and he was invisible in that playoff series. This year, you're young and you're tougher than you were a year ago. This year we got the butcher, Radko Gudas, in our corner. This Florida Panthers team is strong defensively. They're going to get into scraps, and they're going to win those scraps. They're going to get in fights. They're going to win those fights, and I believe they're going to win those games. I'm not arrogant enough to tell you the Panthers wrap this up in 5 or even wrap it up in 6. I think it's going to come down to a final, decisive Game 7 in Sunrise, Florida. And I think you're going to see big moments from your goal scorers, the guys who have been clutch for you all season long. Alexander Barkov, what a season. Frank the Tank Vetrano is probably going to come up with some gigantic, like game-tying goal, game-winning goal in the third period like he usually does. Sam Bennett has been great lately. Jonathan Huberdeau is a magician. Anthony Duclair. Think about how great Mackenzie Weegar has been on the back line. Alex Wenberg, every now and then he'll turn up and score a hat trick. You're going to get goal scoring for a number of different places. And the big thing for me is, the Panthers can take punches and throw them back. You get punched in the mouth, you're going to throw right back, and you're going to win these fights. So, yeah, I'm confident. It's going to be difficult. I don't think it's going to surprise anyone if the Tampa Bay Lightning become a really tough out. And Florida's not going to surprise them either. Florida has Tampa Bay's respect. They know that the Panthers, who they went 2-5 against this year, are not going to be a pushover. I think it's going to be a great series. I think this is going to be the proper way to really introduce a Sunshine State hockey rivalry. We've been trying to force it now for decades. We've been trying to force a rivalry between the Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning. You can never have a true rivalry unless you have teams meet in playoff series. You're getting that this year. It's going to be physical. It's going to be awesome. And I think the Florida Panthers are going to edge it out in a decisive Game 7. And you know what that means? That means my nerves are going to be crazy, right? I mean, Game 7 is dramatic. How many Game 7s have we just lost our minds with the Miami Heat? And we're going to get that now with the Florida Panthers. So I think the Cats are going to win the series. Then after that, you likely have to go up against Carolina in the second round. So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy to make a deep playoff run, but I think that this team is going to be up for it, my friends. 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Coming up next, a story, a column written about our very own Udonis Haslem. When I saw the headline, it really triggered me. When I actually read it, I think the author actually meant it as kind of a compliment. I think this is an interesting thing to dissect. We'll get to it when we close out the show coming back. Hey, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m., Sean Stanley hosts the Squared Circle Digest. Now wrestling fans have a place to call home as Sean covers the very colorful world of wrestling. Tune in every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on the home for sports fans worldwide, OnSideRadio.com.
The man of the match with South Florida's own Alex Donno. Weekdays 1 to 5 p.m. on the home for Inter Miami football. OnSideRadio.com.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
When you're looking for curtains and blinds to create a space of your own, look no further than Bandalux. Bandalux can tailor your space to your needs. Create the atmosphere and ambiance you desire. We invite you to discover it at Bandalux.com. Explore our new solar control systems, range of sustainable fabrics, and energy-efficient solutions that can improve your well-being and quality of life. Witness Bandalux Beauty. Go to Bandalux.com or follow them on Instagram at Bandalux_official. For a personal experience, A Shade Above Window Fashions in Davie and Sunrise is an official Bandalux partner.
Ashiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now, it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Parents, we know we can't protect our kids from everything. Eventually, they're going to bump their heads or scrape their knees. But we can protect them from 6 types of cancer. HPV, or human papillomavirus, is a common preventable virus that can cause cancer later in life. The HPV vaccine prevents human papillomavirus and all the cancers it can cause. The American Cancer Society recommends getting your sons and daughters the HPV vaccine starting at age 9 to protect them later in life.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
You're listening to OnSideRadio.com. Catch up anytime by downloading the MyTuner Radio app. OnSideRadio.com, South Florida's true hometown station. You're listening to this station with more live and local sports talk than anyone else in South Florida. OnSideRadio.com, broadcasting from South Florida to the world. Welcome back to the Man of the Match with Alex Donno. You can reach out anytime on the Onside Sports Line, 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623.
Dude, so I'm on today one of my favorite sports blogs. They post a lot of good material on this blog, some thought-provoking, like, serious sports stories, a lot of, like, fun miscellaneous stuff, thebiglead.com. I see a headline today. It really pissed me off, the headline, and then it's one of those things, clickbait, right? It pissed me off. I actually read it, and the man who wrote it, Stephen Douglas, I guess he meant this as a compliment, but listen to this headline, Alex, and how do you think I reacted to this? So the headline is, Udonis Haslem should be suspended for the rest of the season. So, like, I read that headline, it's, bro, like, you really think that this guy, you know, finger wagging and, like, barely touching Dwight Howard on his forehead means, like, you should lock him up and throw away the key? Like, that's how I react. Like, I was really pissed off. The clickbait worked. Now, I'm actually a responsible human being. When I see a headline that pisses me off, I read it, right? A lot of you see a headline that pisses you off and you just repost it and you talk about how angry you are. So, like, it turns out, to be fair, and I'm not even sure if he wrote the headline, because depending on what site you work for, you know, sometimes you write the story and the editor writes the headline. So I don't know if Stephen Douglas actually wrote his own headline or if somebody wrote it for him. So I can't necessarily blame him for that. So let me read you an excerpt of this piece. So he actually means this in a weird way as a compliment. After receiving an ovation from the partial crowd at the American Airlines Arena, Haslam scored 2 baskets in less than 3 minutes. Then he got into it with Dwight Howard, put a finger in his face, and got ejected. Before leaving, he had some words for the Sixers bench, possibly about what might happen should the teams meet again in the playoffs. If the Eastern Conference standings hold, they could see each other in the second round. And that's why he says Udonis Haslem should be suspended for the rest of the season. If Pat Riley's masked smile didn't give it away, this is exactly the message the Heat wanted to send to the top-seeded 76ers. It was a perfect moment for both Haslem and Heat culture, he said. The NBA should step in and give them exactly what they want. Suspend Haslem, who just made his 45th appearance of the last 5 seasons last night. Let Haslem finish his season and perhaps his career going out on top as the NBA's ultimate tough guy. Plus, for overreacting and suspending him for something that was barely worthy of a single technical foul. So there, like, Steven admits, like, he didn't think that was egregious. He says, the Heat will be able to use this as motivation. The league was afraid of the full power Miami Heat. It's exactly what they wanted and exactly what they want. Look at the joy they take from this. And then he posts some of the reactions. Now, I disagree with what he wrote there, okay? But still, it gave me some comfort to see that he didn't mean it as like an insult, like, oh, how dare Udonis Haslem poke Dwight Howard in the head. He should never step on the court again. Like, in a weird way, he meant like, oh, it'd be great for Heat culture to overreact and suspend Haslem. It's gonna really motivate Miami. I don't know, man. I mean, to me, like, the punishment wouldn't fit the crime. And in the back of my mind, okay, I doubt this would actually happen because I can't imagine Udonis Haslem would be in any way, shape, or form part of the Heat's playoff rotation unless we have catastrophic injuries, and that would be a big problem in itself. But, man, even like the possibility of seeing Haslem for like another 3-minute span against the Sixers, if you get to the second round and you face the Sixers, oh, my God, that would be so delightful because, you know, Udonis has 6 fouls to give. He's got 2 techs to give. He can get in a fight and get thrown out, and no one's going to care. Like, I don't know. I would take delight in even the remote possibility of seeing Udonis Haslem if the Heat face the Sixers in the playoffs. Just even the idea of knowing, hey, Sixers, if you try any nonsense, we got UD on that bench, and we might bring him in at any moment. Even if we don't, we could, right? But if he's suspended, you don't even have the option. So, no, I think it's crazy to suggest that he get officially suspended for the rest of the season, even if we don't see him again this season, which is a big possibility. We won't see Haslem play again this year. It's ridiculous to suggest that he, you know, in some weird, twisted way should be suspended for the rest of the year. So I appreciate the effort because he meant it as a compliment, but I don't know, still missed the mark for me. All right, huge thanks to everyone who took part today. Alex Aguirre doing awesome stuff here, producing, making everything go. Great work, as always. Omar Kelly joined us today. Alphonse Sidney, Lee Sterling, Frank Crivello. If you missed any of those interviews or if you missed any of the conversations we had today, I highly recommend subscribing to our podcasts. You can get our podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your pods. Just subscribe to Onside Radio or search my name, Alex Donno. You'll find my show. Listen back to the replays. You know, Omar Kelly every week is a very popular replay, so get on that, my friends. He had a lot of interesting stuff to say to us tonight. By the way, huge shout-out. I didn't shout out the chat room enough today. We did read some of them, but Mike No-Go Zones, huge shout-out to you. Joseph Rodriguez was in. Enrique Paradoa, Ray Grullon, Manny Fernandez, thank you for hopping in. Brooklyn Rob, of course, we banter about Juventus and Inter Milan. We love doing that with Brooklyn Rob. Troy Ortiz was in as well. Thanks to everyone who chatted with us, who watched us on YouTube, who listened to us live on OnSideRadio.com. We'll talk to you guys again. I will talk to you guys Sunday, Inter Miami pregame, which starts at, I think our game is, I want to say 4, right? So pregame at 3. 3 o'clock pregame, 4 o'clock kickoff against FC Cincinnati. We'll talk to you guys